rendered. And there's some language that makes it also seem like that custom stores who are members of GOA may also be covered. And I think that is what some people are gun shy about, because the language could be interpreted one way, but somebody could also interpret it the other way. So I think, and that's what he was speculating on, why you see in these companies being gun shy about it, is that language. He said he wished it could have been more concrete on if that also covers stores who are members of these organizations, because you don't have to be an individual to join. You can be a business and join these organizations as well.
Yeah.
So that's what he's thinking, maybe why you're seeing some gun shyness when he was looking at what's going on.
And part of it, though, there's a lot of talk going around about the organizations or the businesses.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody's really mentioning the 15 states that were included in this, and just their citizens in general.
Oh, here's the thing: the short decision doesn't spell it out. The longer one does, and the longer one specifically states it only covers state agencies like law enforcement and whatnot. It does not cover the citizens of the states, because of the way the states entered into. They didn't enter in representing the people of the states. They entered in representing the
I got
organizations of the state. He's like, if you read just the short version, you'll come away thinking that it covers the people that live in the states. But when you read the full drawn out thing, at first he's like, yeah, I thought it covered the people of the states too. But then when they issued and released the full, however many pages he said it was, and he really dug into it, and he's like, no, it only says that it covers the state workers, like the law enforcement agencies and whatnot.
Yeah, I remember, now that you're mentioning that, I do remember that portion of it. Yes. So, I don't like this background either. All that being said,
how many, we got 4 people in here paying attention to this to some extent. How many articles, videos, like pieces of content have you consumed about this in like however long it's been, not just today, like, however long? And then like, how many of them would you say you need to read to even get an idea of what's going on? Because I'm guessing there's not a source that explains it all. I mean, there might be tomorrow because hindsight, but I'm trying to get a grasp on how much data's out there, because it seems like a couple of Discord things I've been watching, it's like maybe a dozen points of view already. And I would say after watching maybe a dozen videos myself, I would say like you have to probably watch 8 of them to figure out what the hell's going on.
Yeah, I've probably watched or read 10 different things on it so far. The most concise that I've seen was the 4 Boxes Diner video. But this guy is also a lawyer that tries cases before the Supreme Court. He knows how to summarize this stuff.
Yes.
Well, and that's his gig on YouTube, is essentially summarizing shit almost daily, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, and with that, I was going to answer G-Web's question. That's what it was. Just today alone, I've probably consumed 6 or 7 different pieces on this, between videos and an article. The article, I only read one, and that was brutal for me, but I wanted to see what the article actually said, which really just gave me what I was getting from the videos.
Sometimes having it written down, like those people tend to like hit all the bullet points or whatever, and it's like, I feel like I'm getting more, but not always, but sometimes I feel like I'm getting more out of a written article than somebody just trying to summarize it.
Depends on who is trying to summarize it. Yeah. One of the reasons that I don't read a lot of articles for obvious reasons. But when I'm reading an article, I don't have that person's voice interjecting their personal thoughts on the matter. I mean, depending on who wrote the article, you can still have them, put the little quips and jabs and everything else in there, but it makes it a little easier to ignore when you're just reading it.
Well, it can make a big difference too. That's what my rant was earlier today, because after watching, and that's one of the reasons I was asking everybody, Gizzard hasn't said, I don't know if he's been watching as much, but after watching a few of these things, I'm like, you didn't need to make that video. I mean, my video I didn't need to make, but I wanted to rant about how much of a waste of time it was to watch the number of videos I've watched or paid, I didn't even watch them all. I skimmed through them because they're basically all summarizing what they think. And since, like, I guess what Rich said, there's a first summary and then there's the actual in-depth one. Nobody read the in-depth one. They skimmed the summary, listened to a couple of people, and made their own video about what they think. And after a couple of those, I'm like, you didn't need to make that video. You just meant to get in on this and, have another to be continued, that people are out of habit or desperation going to watch your stupid video. Unless they didn't read anything, you're not adding anything to this. If they came at it cold, you might be adding something, but that's pretty weak ass ice to be, you could have just shut up. It basically is, I'm not bitching any particular person, but just in general, if we wouldn't learn to just calm down and get some data before we all decide to chime in, then it just becomes like, I got to assume a bunch of people are like, screw this already. I can't even figure out what's going on. Like, I've watched 4 videos. They're all different. I'm out of here. And you know what I mean? Like, it's frustrating. So I guess my video was a rant to be like what I just said.
Yeah, I haven't really watched any of them, to tell you the truth. Now, I did watch the little thing from GOA where they showed the suppressors being transferred to Brandon Herrera and stuff like that. And saying,
Did you watch that
we
live,
finally
like,
did.
midnight or whatever?
No. I went to bed. I couldn't stay up that late, but I watched it first thing this morning.
What bothers me is it's like there's a meteor shower last night, this morning, whatever you want to say, like last night, whatever. But then
the Perseids.
Yeah, exactly. And then like a bunch of other cool stuff, like a bunch of those planets all lined up, like rarely happens. We're all sitting around. I mean, it's not like I'm not trying to be a dick. It's like good news and all that, but at the same time, it's good news for a couple of people right now. But it's what it's working out to be, and like a good toe hold or a good grab point for the next reach or whatever. But I guess the but is like, you know what I mean? Like, we're missing everything else that's going on in the world because everybody had to stop and chime in on this. Well, are we going to learn a lesson from this or no? Or are we
Probably
going to
not, because you're going to have people that are going to chase clickbait no matter what. So,
and say, what is there a lesson to be learned?
I would hope so, because it turned, how it went from, and this is like big enough news, I'm hoping, because if it was like the 50th state, Illinois, got concealed carry, that was big news for everybody in Illinois and for all the people who knew that was the last state, but a bunch of people could care less, right? So this seemed like big news because the NFA is gone, and then a lot of people led with that headline or whatever, and that was the murmur. So everybody went to the internet, I'm assuming, in droves. People were like, what happened? Let's go to the internet and find out. And then met with this sort of mess of like, oh, let me tell you what I heard. Here's the whole story. And, there's always breaking news. I guess that's just a nature of it. But what could we have learned? Like, hey, like, deal with this like adults, I guess is the way to say it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, let information happen and don't need to jump on it like a bunch of, I don't know, all the stuff we usually bitch about, people that have to, fill the 24-hour news cycle or be first on the scene, even though they have the wrong stuff. They're going to say whatever, and they can always apologize later, but nobody's going to care because of the way the news cycle moves. We bitch about that, but then we are part of it. Like, we fall victim to it. I don't think we're victims. I think we fall, we're able to make decisions as a group, and we haven't figured out a way to deal with that yet. I don't know how many times we've dealt with this, and it's always different people, I suppose. I don't know.
here's a question: how many people are going to be affected by this compared to how many more people are going to be affected to the post office thing, and how many people haven't heard about the post office thing because of the other thing.
What is the post office thing? I thought you guys were just talking about that. That's an actual
Yeah.
different, separate news thing.
Yeah, it came out yesterday, but nobody really heard about it until today because everything going on with the NFA thing. Yesterday, the DOJ's Office of Legal Counsel put out a ruling saying that for years they've been misinterpreting the ban on carry in the post office because it gives 3 exemptions. One's for military under orders to, for like martial law kind of situations. The other is law enforcement in the course of doing their job. And the other just says lawfully carrying. Now, what have we been hearing for the courts for years is lawfully carrying, concealed carrying a firearm, or in some states, open carrying a firearm, just a standard citizen. So they came out and said that that is protected and that you can carry in a post office if you are legally carrying a firearm.
What if?
Oh, that's super good news. I'm glad that that's separate. And yeah, it is frustrating that that's getting overshadowed when that seems like that's cut and dry. Like that's a good win. You know what I mean? There's not a lot of drama there, but maybe that's why nobody's jumping on it.
So, what if this whole thing was a strategic distraction by them to knowing that it would suppress the word about
Who's them?
the government, ATF, DOJ, all that.
I just don't think it can be. I think it's more of us falling around looking like a bunch of goofuses. Like, oh, me, look at me. I've got a headline. Look at me. That's what, at least that's what I was bitching at. I don't think that was orchestrated because.
Well, they very well could
do the same thing if like they said braces can be triangles now. There'd be a bunch of people like, but news on the street.
Well, my point though is they could have released that information any other day, but they released it on a day.
As far as putting them back to back. Yeah, good point.
So now, because like we were talking about when you were having trouble getting in here, I don't know if you heard us. They've still got another 52 days or so that they can appeal this to the circuit, and when they do that, they can ask for a stay again. And I'd be willing to bet they probably get that stay. It's not guaranteed.
Stuff.
Yes. So they could have been like, you know what, we're just gonna take this L for now, because we know it's gonna be a massive distraction, and then most people aren't gonna hear about this post office thing, and then they can go on blissfully being ignorant, thinking that they can't carry in a post office. Meanwhile, they can, if they really do want to appeal this, continue to get their ducks in a row and take their sweet time to do it.
I mean, I see where you're saying that, and I can see how it lines up. I just don't want to give them credit for like doing that. You know what I mean? Like,
I get it.
A wizard who figured that
it's
out.
a little.
I think that's just a happenstance that they win on that because everything you said. But
yeah, it's a little tin hat. I get it.
But what the hell? Like they definitely won the shuffle there. You know what I mean? Sometimes it's just the luck of the draw or something. Like they definitely got that in. And like just like you said, everything you said there, like they hate the idea that we can just start having guns around. And that's something that hopefully we'll be better at vocalizing or making clear or something. Like, hey, guess what? Like everybody's carrying in post offices still. They probably always have, and there's no danger. So, guess what? There's nothing to worry about. So quit making a big deal out of all this, or quit letting other people make a big deal out of this for you.
I'm also wondering how much of this comes out of that case we saw in Florida a few months ago where the judge in a criminal case stated that it's unconstitutional to prohibit carry in the post office.
Like, is this a result of that?
Yeah, is it connected in some way?
I guess it would depend on where this was where did this news about the post office come from? Is this the Supreme Court or the DOJ or the ATF?
This is DOJ, but I'm wondering if DOJ saw that ruling in Florida and it somehow influenced them to go back over the law.
What if it's they want machine guns, huh? And short rifles. Why don't we give them post office carry and maybe they'll shut up? I think maybe it's more like that.
That's a way to think about it. They're like, you know what? We'll just tell them about this. They'll forget about the other thing where, you know, they're defeating the NFA, and then we'll be able to strengthen it later.
Was anybody watching Chris from the 740 show right before this?
Yeah, I was watching.
I didn't know he was doing a show again.
No, he doesn't do them regularly. I think
Oh.
he might do them every other week, or at least that's his goal. But anyway, he did a show today. He had a guy on from Lone Star Silencer Company on in Texas, and he had a lot of insight, at least new to me insight. Like I said, I watched 12 things today and then some stuff before this trying to figure out what's going on. I barely figured it out last night that there was a deadline or whatever last night because the news started happening, and I was like, oh, okay, this is the culmination of what I've been hearing about now. Still wasn't getting good, accurate information at all last night. Like I thought the NFA was over last night. Started hearing more and more stuff, mostly from Foss, dropping it in his and Skagit Valley, I guess. I don't know if other people, you know, in their Discord, you know, they're dropping all kinds of sources, and that's where I started to get more and more details on all this as these different lawyers dig into it. And there's probably lawyers that have nothing to do with guns that are just like, hey, I'm a lawyer and I like to dig into this kind of shit. You know, there's probably people that have no interest in what we're talking about, but just have interest in whatever laws come out. Anyway, so I started looking into it and seeing how complicated or whatever it is.
Yeah, Chris's guest pretty much parroted what Mark Smith over in Fort Bucks Diner said about the dealers being gun shy right now, because he said the same thing, that reason why his company isn't going out there and doing unregistered suppressors right now. You still going to fill out a form if you buy from one of his, is because he doesn't know if his business is covered under the DOJ label or not.
Well, okay. So I'm glad to hear that I don't have to listen to Fort Bucks Designer because I don't like listening to that guy as much. But what that guy from the gun shop in Texas, or the suppressor company in Texas, was saying was from Texas point of view, right? And from a suppressor manufacturer's point of view who knows what's going on. So it was good insight, but it was frustrating insight because he was clarifying what Rich is basically talking about, that the meat of the bigger article talks about, like, you basically can't just be anywhere. You have to be certain special people like Clover out there. Do you guys see the comments coming in from my channel now? Or do I only see them?
No, you can only see them.
Oh, okay. So I don't know. I guess that's lame if I can connect my channel, but you guys can't see because I'm getting all kinds of comments. Clover's out there, Aldo's out there, Chuck, like all kinds of people are out there. So one of the comments was Clover got
maybe
it.
I can, because I see Chuck and Aldo and Clover, so they're on your channel, not barbecues.
Yeah. See how there's
thinking
like
they
a
were
little
barbecues.
link there, that little linky icon above the YouTube icon. At least for me, I see the little linky icon there, and that's telling me, I guess, that they're from. But anyway,
Yeah,
so okay, I was going to say that. Yeah, I forgot what I was going to say. Something about the FFLs. Oh, damn! I haven't bought a gun in a long time, and filling out a 4473. I haven't done one in a while. I know they changed everything to the front page recently, but that was a few years back already. But I haven't done enough to remember what they say about an NFA, and I haven't done one from a gun shop since 2007, right? 2016 or something. So I have no idea what the front of them, or I mean, what the NFA stuff is on them. But from what I understand, there's some stuff like, you know, depending on if you're in a state that isn't going to ban them or make some extra nuisance, if you're just in one of the states that just uses federal laws, and the 4473 is part of NICS, normally you would fill out a 4473 one way if it's an NFA item. But now, since it's not an NFA item, you're filling it out in a different way. So, you know what I mean? So I guess that's part of the technical issue. Anyway, it makes sense that shops are going to go, hold on, until we get told by the people who regulate and enforce us, we're not doing shit. So I don't give shops any problem. but it's really just a matter of when the ATF, the next big wave in news, right, will be what the ATF says, what their advice is, because that advice will be uniform going out to most of the states. I mean, maybe it's adapted to a state, but for the most part, ATF is going to be about federal insider, whatever that's called, with rulings. Is it ruling? Whatever it would be called. The way that they're going to deal with it. And whenever we see that, then we know, you know what I mean? Because what do you guys think about this whole concept that Trump told the DOJ not to pursue this? Like, is that mean that this is going to be resolved sooner than later to the more towards the leaning towards the get rid of the NFA already and let people do what they want? Or is it going to just become a mess or something else?
Is that an actual report? Because I hadn't heard that Trump had actually said, do not pursue this.
No.
Yeah.
No, I heard that Trump saying do not pursue is as much as, and then I extrapolated everything else.
Okay.
I heard that there is a report that Trump said do not pursue, but I haven't heard much at all about that other than
what I saw was that a couple of congressmen led by the guy we talked about yesterday on Gary's show and got a hold of Trump, and then Trump gave the executive order not to pursue it or something. So.
I got
that guy from Georgia.
Yeah.
So how does that guy get in on it? Because it's all taking place in Texas, and then there's this guy in Georgia. That's one of the reasons I was like, what's going on with all this?
No, he's a congressman. Was just watching the and
Fun.
Georgia was one of the states that was a plaintiff in the case. So.
Oh, okay, that's right. Because there's 14 states or whatever, and then
15,
I forget which lawyers. Some girl lawyer I was watching today, so probably armed attorneys, but I don't know if I was watching another girl lawyer or not. They were saying something about, I think what you were saying, that those 14 states, it's not regular people in those 14 states. It's like law enforcement or something in those 14 states, and that they shouldn't have to fiddle with this thing or something now that it's off the NFA.
Another point that Chris's guest brought up was not just dealers themselves by selling directly to somebody, but what if there's somebody who sells online and they have to ship it to a dealer in another state? Do they still have to do the registration in that other state or not?
That's the one thing
Because
that
it was bought out of state.
Very interesting to me when I had that thought, because when everything came out, I was thinking to myself, well, great. So let's say you were to buy online, but then it has to be shipped to an FFL in your state to do the 4473. One, does that FFL still need to be class 3? Could you just send it to any FFL? But then again, like Rich just said, at that point, what if you aren't in one of those states that had been covered, which that now, as we know, doesn't cover the citizens of those states? It's just the government.
I'm interrupting. Go ahead.
Oh no, go ahead.
I was just saying, I know that it's not everybody in those 14 states, but I don't want to act like I know it is only Texas or something either. If you're saying Georgia, is it like Georgia and Texas regular people that are in GOA and or bought something from PSA and or Silencer Central or whatever, and or is it
the state coverage?
I don't want to say the wrong ones. I know one of them's not cool.
The state coverage only covers agencies within that state, local police, things like that. It doesn't cover the citizens. However, with the way I'm to understand it, like if you're a member of GOA, this covers you. It doesn't matter what state you're in.
I haven't heard anything like that today. Like they're not saying, well, I don't know. Yesterday, the news, the way it was being reported yesterday was like, hey, if you're a member of GOA, start threading your barrels and just wait for the good news, as long as you're not in one of these states that ban suppressors. And now it's been like, oh, except for, hold on, wait a minute. It looks like it's more like, and I don't know what the actual Clover's calling them plaintiffs. Like, I don't know, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Does everybody who's in the GOA become a plaintiff, like what you're saying? Because then it shouldn't matter what state you're in. Like I'm in Arizona, it should be fine. But then do you have to be like a plaintiff are covered by like the state and GOA, like and
No, again, the states are only for the state agencies, things like that. That's the membership of GOA. I think what FPC was one of the
and FAF.
yes. All
They're
of
making the
those.
Texas rifle thing.
what about the
Yes.
suppressor? So the silencer?
Silencer
So,
Co.
ASA?
is covered.
No,
That's,
ASA, American Silencer Association. Like,
yeah, that thing. Yeah, I
Yep.
believe they're connected to.
I was
Yep.
gonna say, like, you would think they'd be the number one.
Yeah, because there was what about a half dozen different organizations
Mm-hmm.
uh, as plaintiffs on this.
Yeah,
Well,
and
co-plaintiffs.
Texas Rifle Association, which technically is a branch of the NRA, but since NRA funneled the money through them and didn't do it technically themselves, they're saying that NRA members aren't covered.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Because that would cover 5 million people, so I could see him drawing a line there. Or not 5, I guess, 2.5 or whatever it is now. But 5 million would definitely come up with an ID in their hand when they're buying a suppressor.
Oh, and
I
at
don't
the
know
end of
if
the
they're looking
day,
at that, though. They're
Well,
just
right.
looking at whether or
Yeah.
not it's legal or constitutional, right? They're not at this point looking at stuff like, oh man, I wonder how many people are going to buy guns. Like, they don't give a shit about that. They're just wondering if this shit's legal, or at least the conversations are all about
the thing is, at the end of the day, if Rich is suing somebody, just because I gave him money for his lawsuit to fight that, does that mean that I'm entitled to anything? If we didn't, that doesn't work like that.
No, because they can't go like 7 layers deep and go, oh,
Yeah.
we'll give money to them to give money to them. That makes sense.
Mhm.
Because I look at this as a first step or for whatever happens next. Right? Like, this isn't like a singularity by any means. Nobody's saying that.
So, have we
you
got
don't-
this? Go ahead, Rich.
Yeah, like Clover was pointing out, you don't have to be a member when the decision was rolled. This is going to cover GOA membership going forward too.
Yes.
So if
Well, what
you're
about
not,
just PSA? Like, can you just buy something from PSA or buy something from one of these
Yeah.
other companies? Like, I
Yeah,
bought a hat
yeah.
from Silencer
That's
Co.
That's
Yeah,
the way
you
it's
could.
worded.
that's definitely the way it's worded. Customers of those companies are covered. So if you're not a member of GOA and you bought and you go during however long this lasts for, say an SBR from like one of those short little AKs from PSA, that would be covered. That should be covered.
If you
Mhm.
buy it directly from them.
Yes, if you buy it directly from them.
But
And it
that's
doesn't matter the gun. You just have to be a customer, right? Like, you can be a customer of PSA and then SBR your like the 1022 that you bought when you were 12 years old.
No, I don't think that would cover you. It's got to be something you buy from them.
Oh, the product has to be from them. Well, they're going
Right.
to sell a shit ton of products. This is all a cash grab.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, it
Well-
doesn't even necessarily have to be their store branded one. They could have an old Anderson sitting there on the shelf, and you could buy that. And if it's being
Didn't-
bought through them, it counts.
I feel like something I listened to today, I don't think I read it, but somebody said something like, you can't buy a parts kit and put it together. Like, you have to buy a fucking gun from them.
And Clever says not just PSA, any silencers. Yeah, I was just using them as an example because everybody's been talking about the silencer part. Nobody's hardly been talking about the SBR and SBS side of things.
yes.
I've got 2 issues at least that I want to talk about when we're still talking about this, but they would be divergent from right now, so I don't have to bring them up right now. But it's for your overall show strategy or whatever.
So,
This could be real interesting if that new rule that the ATF just implemented, where things can be shipped directly to your home, goes into effect.
well,
Yeah, for what?
because that's another thing that I was thinking about.
Well, that
They
was
don't have it in
commentary.
place yet. What's that, G?
I'm just talking out loud. That was a comment period, right? Like, that was
Yeah.
one of the comment period of the 34 comment periods we all ignored. Yeah.
Yep.
Let's say they want to make the 4473 where you can do it right online, which I was like, that's interesting. I like that. So then there wouldn't be anything having to be shipped to an FFL. That way, a 4473 could be done. And granted, am I super thrilled about that? No, because that is going to hurt some FFLs, your LGSs. But at the same time, it's more freedom for us, and that's always a good thing at the end of the day. Honestly, I feel like if an LGS was really banking their business on just doing $30, $50, $100 transfers, whatever the heck they were charging for online orders to come into them, they probably weren't doing that great as a business anyways. But I digress. But with that, again, for now, it does make that very interesting where, well, one, like I said, do they have to be class 3 to even get these in if they're not in, well, I shouldn't even say one of these covered states because it doesn't cover your LGS in any of those given states. But let's say your LGS had a membership to one of these organizations. Does that cover them? There's a couple really interesting dynamics there. Now, Gio, as you said something about parts kits being ordered. So, because
I meant like a guns parts kit, like off of Didn't Palmetto used to have like AR parts kits? I used to drool over buying like an AR parts kit by a receiver somewhere and put together like an old M16. Or am I crazy? I thought they used to have stuff like that.
You talking about the retro line from Brownells?
No, hell no. I never buy nothing from Brownells. No, it would have been Palmetto. But I'm talking like back in the days when me and Matt and Yankee were chatting live back in like fucking 12. Are you swear on the show? We swear on the show.
Oh, we swear on the show all the time.
So it was a long time ago. But I was thinking like of guns parts kit where you like buy, I knew a lot of people would buy like lowers and uppers from PSA all the time and save that whatever assembly fee. And I'm pretty sure I heard a lawyer or somebody today, because it wasn't always lawyers. Like that guy, the guest from, no, I forgot the name of this company, but the guest on Chris's show was really smart about it. Like he really knew what was going on. He was able to concisely present like sort of what's going on. So it was, anyway, somebody was saying that it only applies to complete guns. I want it to apply to like if you buy a hat from a company, like now you're a customer of theirs and now you can just go make SPRs.
Well, see, that's where it intrigues me because I don't understand how it can only apply to complete guns. Because if you're a member of GOA isn't selling SBRs. They're not selling SBSs. But if it's supposed to cover me, why can I not go now buy an 8.5-inch upper and put it on?
Oh, I think it would be somebody who's not a member of GOA who only bought some products.
Okay. I got you.
Yeah, that's why when I made the point, I specifically said at the beginning, if you're not a member of GOA,
and then you don't have to be a member today at all. Like you can go be a member next week, and you're still going to be covered. So it's not like anybody can't be for $35 or whatever it is.
I still don't understand why it wouldn't cover parts kits because the only serialized thing is the lower receiver.
Well, here's the thing. I can't see why any of this matters because one of my questions I'm going to ask you in a minute here is what about building these things? Everything that I heard, every single thing I've heard about is buying something from an FFL, which is awesome. And we have to worry about that for a whole bunch of reasons that I think the guy on Chris's show brought up, like trusts. Trusts only work with NFA items. If these aren't NFA items anymore, all these trusts disappear. So like we've got all kinds of issues when we're talking about these things. But
his point
things with serial numbers. What about when you put one together? That's a whole different thing. And then if that's the case, I am a member of GOA. I put this together. What question mark? You know what I mean? Like what's the circumstances there? And if that's the case, that it's cool to put it together, then how do they know what exists and what was built when? And
he had a specific question about trust, though. What about the members of the trust who aren't a member of GOA?
Well, the trust gets into a whole nother thing because you can't put regular guns in a trust, I guess, other than property or something.
Technically, you could.
Yeah, it's just that they wouldn't be itemized as serial numbers and they didn't have to go through clear all the crap that you have to do with.
Yeah, it would make it easy. It would just make it easier for people to. You can in the trust, you can designate who gets what easier. So I've seen people put regular firearms in the trust just for that reason. But remember, with the trust with the NFA, everybody in the trust has to register with the ATF. You're going to
currently, yeah, that's true. I forgot about that.
Yeah, so you're going to have, if this goes through, you're going to have some people in the trust that are registered and some that aren't.
Can you have a trust with like your kids, but they're in like another state? Or like your brother and he's in another state? Because if that's the case, now you got people that aren't even in the state that's counted, right?
I don't see
Oh,
why
somebody's
you couldn't.
asking, can I address a couple of questions that are going on? Because we are having a ton of questions.
Yeah.
Somebody asked, what's NFA? We've been assuming a lot. Sorry. We're talking about some stuff that affects a federal law from 1934 called the National Firearms Act. And we just call it NFA because we've always been dealing with it our whole lives. So NFA is National Firearms Act. It's a national law from 1934. Right after the gangsters, they got afraid of the machine guns and stuff that were plentiful right before World War II, after World War I, and they scared a bunch of people into making everything illegal. That was our first federal gun law, essentially. We're bitching about it because it's poorly written, it's not needed, and it doesn't really do what they intended it to do. So after 90 whatever years, 97 something years, we're talking about how it's essentially failing, falling apart, and we've got some real chunks taken out of it. We're trying to determine what chunks have fallen off so that we can all get our hands on stuff that's been very elusive and expensive until now. Oh, and then we have the stupid 1986 if we really want to get into it.
Don't forget.
Well, that's one thing I wanted to bring up here in a bit. So,
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, but don't forget too, you got the NFA of 38 and the Gun Control Act of 68. We all just lump all that in all the time as NFA.
What I'll say is we do have a ton of questions coming in. This is a show, so these questions will exist. I'm working Barbecue's regular Thursday show. He semi-regularly often does a show on Thursday, and with Rich and Gizzard show up in it often, and I'm jumping in today too, and then I'm shoving it over on my channel. So everybody that's watching over here, you guys say you can see them, but you guys can see how many comments are coming in. We're not going to be able to read them all. So what I'll say is when I do a live show again, I'll go in and we'll dig into these comments. So I won't leave you hanging, but it might be tomorrow that we address some of these. Sorry, I'll let you get back to your show, but Barbecue.
no, you're good. And so for anybody out there wondering, like, well, the host isn't fielding questions, I'm blind. I can't really see the text chat, and I've never figured out a good way to have the screen reader just read me the comments that are coming in. My screen reader will just start from the very beginning of whatever is on my screen. So like it would start with the tabs that are open, and then it's a nightmare. So
some other weeks we'd have DJ Play Nice in here, who is the co-host, I believe, and he'll read questions that coming from the audience. So we're used to having him here doing the question reading too.
I figured it was more of like a BJ and the Bear type of situation.
Yep. And so I've been trying to get Gary conditioned for it, but he just kind of sits back.
I'm just not up to the task, I tell you.
Yeah, it's all right. It's all right. And say, I mean, you're already doing 2 shows a week, so this is the time for you to rest your voice. But
can I take a second? No, just as a palate refresher and say, isn't it awesome that all of these difficult questions are having to be forced upon the DOJ, the ATF, and the general public, like rather than us just wishing something would ever happen?
Yeah, I say, I mean, it's great that we're having to just have these conversations right now. You know, like, did even after the zero tax happened in the big beautiful bill, all that fun stuff, and I remember way back then we were like, you know, there's going to be some lawsuits that come down the pike. Never did I think that in the same year we'd be able to talk about something like this. Like, oh yeah, not only did they zero the tax, but we're probably able to, if you're part of this organization or buying from this company, you know, you can just not have to worry about a Form 4 or a Form 1 or anything like that.
I'll keep this in mind too. If it wasn't for the Senate parliamentarian, if they would have just ignored her, we wouldn't be having this issue right now either, because they would have got rid of the registration too.
Yes.
Aldo out there says, sorry you got to deal with the eyesight thing. He almost lost his eye when he was shooting BBs as a kid, hit a small nail in the fence and came back and bounced off his eye.
I wish my story was that cool.
Yeah, he pulled a Ralphie.
Wiggum.
No, not that Ralphie.
I'm in danger. So, do we have any more that we want to dive into on this?
Well, I was going to say about the building, like, or that's one of my things. I wrote him in here earlier. I'm scrolling up to try to find him. But all this stuff has been on buying an FFL buying a suppressor. Because I guess once they get into the details, the SBRs and the SBSs aren't, I guess they're in the Gun Control Act of 68 and potentially the Hughes, well, I guess not the Hughes Amendment, but then potentially state laws. So for most of the conversations, they just defaulted to suppressors only, either because that's all they were interested in, or they were talking about like with the suppressor company or something like that. But I think the other reason is, like I say, that the SBSs and the short barrel rifles and the AOWs are going to be like on the back burner, so to speak, in this whole topic or whatever. They just like kind of got bounced around with it by removing the tax right now. So like the other companies championing that. But my other topic I found it finally is, no matter what happens here, we come out of this different, hopefully better than we are now. Once cans are off of the NFA, do they need to be made out of metal anymore? And is anybody going to waste spending hundreds of dollars on a can when we can 3D print? Like ranges will just have 3D printers, and they'll have, oh, you want a 9mm? Grab a couple of suppressors out of that bucket over there and throw them into that bucket when you're done. So we'll smash them up and reprint them, because they'll just be recycling 3D printed cans as like a service. I think we aren't going to need cans that can last a lifetime anymore. Some people will want a can for hunting or some use that's strong, but I think most of us are going to go, oh, the $14 option versus the $200, $300 option. Thank you. I don't care if I have this can at home. I just want it at the range. I just need it for 2 magazines, and I'm going to go home and, like you say, throw this one in a bucket. You'll shred it up and reprint it. Next week, I'll buy it for $14 again.
Now, Clover says that Sensor Shop is already selling AOWs.
Oh,
that's awesome. That's super good to hear.
And then we got,
and then I guess Palmetto State does as well, right?
I would assume Palmetto State is.
They will be. And then what about like One Horse's Express, right? Like, does Palmetto have a version of that? Because I'd buy that non-SBR trigger whatever you call like the trigger dealie.
Mm-hmm. Now, Tim Burton out there has a question. He wants to know, should Palmetto State Armory start accepting EBT as payment? In other words, should they start taking welfare payments as payment?
I'm not a fan of PSA, as everybody knows. Well,
yeah, it's got to
most
be
everybody knows.
Yeah.
But
well, then you're technically a customer at least, so at least it opened the door for you,
right?
You just not a satisfied customer.
No, they're gonna say that's a story for another time.
What I'm going to say on this, if you're getting enough EBT where you can take that and pay your rent and bills like you're supposed to, and still have money left over to buy a firearm, the government's giving you way too much money.
Ooh, hot take from Rich. No, I was just trying to think of something funny to say, and everything that I had pop in my head is like, it's kind of weak. So, but yeah. So what's the next plan of action? What do we try and go after next? Is it destructive devices, or is it machine guns? I think the answer here is obvious, that it's machine guns. But then,
I think they both come off at the same time.
You think?
Yeah, I mean, AOW snuck in. Nobody even knows what an AOW is. Who's paying
Right.
attention? You know what I mean? Only some of us even pay attention to what that is. Machine guns. We've got all the triggers and the bump stock. So bump stock's already happened, right? So basically, that's already a thing. The destructive devices. Everybody acts like it's something unique, but think about like cannons and what is that song that has cannon in it? There's a something overture, right? There's some
Oh,
like
the 1812 overture.
I think so. Like they play it all the time, or they play it often. And when you're playing it legit, you have a cannon happen.
Yeah.
A couple go off. Yeah.
Right. So for that kind of thing, boom. And then there's a lot of shotgun starts for golf, I think, and for other shit, right? Like, so I think that's how you get those. And it's like, what are you concerned about? Like, so many rich people already know about it. Like, so many people who go to fireworks and shit know what these things are. Because essentially, that's what you're doing. Is somebody's in a like, look at that flamethrower. It's not technically a destructive device, but because it's nothing, people have gone all over the place with making little flamethrowers in the last, I don't know, since the internet, really, like ever since the 90s. It seems like there's been every couple of years some new flamethrower that comes around. So
you can walk
at least out here, I don't know if
it's walk out the front door with it.
I don't know if it's because I moved to the West when I got, or if things got better out here. But fireworks, when I grew up, were not as, we went and bought fireworks and we shot them off, but nowhere near as much as they do in the Western states. I've been in a lot of Western states on 4th of July, and you can look at the city fireworks for like an hour, and then you turn around and watch everybody else's fireworks for the rest of the evening. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot of fireworks that happen recreationally or whatever you want to call, like illegally, essentially. Think back to the 2020 when they were, the thing went viral of the LA news helicopters flying over LA where you're not allowed to shoot fireworks, and it looked like freaking insane, right? It was amazing. So destructive devices, like let people have 4th of July. You know what I mean? I'm surprised if this shit would have happened a year ago, destructive devices would have been nuts this year with the 250th, So anyway, I think destructive devices aren't that far away, especially once you have the, we're assuming we've already got short barrel rifles, short barrel shotguns, AOWs, and suppressors to be normalized essentially because they're already legal. I think it's real easy. And then I'm hoping that we don't just drop the ball and try to walk around going like, haha, we got short shotguns and suck it. Hopefully we're like, hey, look, we have all these new sports. Like we can do cool shotgun sports or something, because I'm telling you, machine gun shooting is fun for competition and recreation. So if we can just have fun with machine guns in front of people with all these new triggers and stuff, everybody's happy to spend money, or when we're over here spending money. So if the people that are scared would stop being scared and start maybe just being interested in, oh, machine guns, they sounded scary, but look at how stupid that machine gun looks, or how weird that one looks, or that one looks like Hello Kitty, or I don't know. But once you make these triggers happen, or I guess once you give these triggers a couple of years on the clock, think of what machine guns are, or not machine guns, I guess, think of what firearms with fancy triggers in them, I don't know what we're supposed to call them, are going to be like in a few years. Because think about what 9mm has done to, and the internet has done to, what do you call them now? PDWs, personal defense weapons, or stupid name for them, but like basically pistol caliber carbines. It's a better name for them. Those did exist. I mean, there was an H&K MP5 for a long, long time, right? There was no need to change that. But the internet, 9mm, and people being bored, like there's a lot of them out there now. And I'm guessing with all these triggers, and think of all the braces. Think of how many braces there are on all these different platforms now that have nothing to do with anything except somebody wanted to create it and somebody decided to do it. And with 3D printers and, producing stuff is just easier and easier. So that's where I'm guessing the triggers are going to give us machine guns and
so
is a lot sooner than people would think.
Two things, because I before I went on to this topic, I forgot you had mentioned the GCA, and I don't think anything with the GCA really applies because
It does.
It does.
Well,
it does.
So
this wasn't
hold
hold on. This wasn't decided on Second Amendment grounds. This was interstate commerce.
It was a tax thing.
Yeah, it was a tax.
Because that's how the lawyers are summarizing it. It's like a tax law, not a gun law. You're right. But I think that's why the GCA happens, because it's only a tax thing. It doesn't remove them from the NFA, really. And that's why some of the states can't ever see them until you change your state laws to say doesn't have to comply
Well,
with the NFA
the state
anymore.
laws, that's going to apply no matter what until there's either those states change their laws or there's a Supreme Court ruling saying, no, that's unconstitutional.
No, it's not state's
The-
issue anymore. Yeah.
Yeah.
These arms are, normal everyday use.
But there is a portion of the GCA that will be affected because the GCA has some of the definition of what constitutes a short barrel shotgun in it.
Yeah, the 34 existed, and when they built in 68, they turned it into Title 1 and then referred all the shit to Title 2, which is really the NFA. So that's the part where, just like with the 4473 and stuff, like there's some inherent shit in the infrastructure that refers to stuff, and unless you have an act of Congress that literally says this doesn't apply anymore, so they have to rewrite all that shit, they don't have to rewrite all that shit. And if they don't rewrite all that shit, you get into things like, oh, I can technically own this, but I can't ship it to me. Like no one can hand it off to me or something like that.
If we could just get the OLC to look at the decision in Miller like they did the post office law and be like, hey, you know what? We've been misinterpreting this the whole time. This says that if this is in common use by the military, it can't be regulated to the people anymore. That would kill all of this. There wouldn't be no more SBRs,
Like
FPS.
the 38 Miller decision or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Well, they need to go back and do, Crump is out there now. They need to do something like go back and look at Hughes Amendment and go, what the fuck is this? Like there's plain video evidence that this is messed up, that we should dink, like boom, the Hughes Amendment's gone. And then, yeah, go back and go, wait a minute, we've been interpreting this wrong the whole time.
And that's where, to come back to when I brought all that up with machine guns, like how do we go after it? Do we wait for another appropriations bill and have them, or try and get them to zero out machine guns, and we can just be like, hey, look, and then this ruling, and it applies here, right? Sounds pretty easy, but then we still have the Hughes Amendment no matter what to deal with. Even if we got machine guns off the NFA, you still wouldn't be able to own anything that is made after 86. Or
that's why I said we go back to Miller, because Miller says if it's in the
Yes.
military, it goes to the people.
And it would, all this other shit would be null, because it would be
Exactly.
defining shit,
Yes.
or it would take away the definition of everything they've defined or something, right? Crump is saying that the state stuff could be done with a single opinion letter, so that's good to hear. And I don't know, like, I haven't heard anything. I don't know if there's anything out there that I missed, or if it just hasn't been talked about. Like whenever this all started, if it, I'm assuming it was not just to throw in a dart at, blindfolded at a dartboard, but some strategy and tactic to it. I'm wondering if the people doing all this stuff are in the mix of all this, have already thought about what's next and the next step and the next step type of thing.
Now, Psycho Steel has a question. He says he's not overly familiar with legal proceedings. Is there a way for SCOTUS to decide to hear this without a circuit split or being appealed repeatedly till it reaches them?
Oh, that's interesting.
Technically, yes, but they hardly ever, if ever, do.
So
Yeah, there
can
doesn't
go out
have
and
to be a
grab
circuit
stuff.
split.
It doesn't have to be presented to them. They are able to make a decision and go grab
They
something.
can snatch a case from a lower court, yes, if they decide to. But it's never. I don't think it's ever been done.
I say there's
Nobody can
times
tell
where
them
lower
to, right?
courts, or I shouldn't say where lower courts, but where plaintiffs or defendants in lower courts aren't happy with the speed or anything like that, or maybe something just got ruled on a certain way, and they'll try. It could happen at district court, and they'll try and skip the circuit process altogether, and request the Supreme Court to hear the case, and
That's like from the bottom.
the Supreme Court's
from
like,
the aspect.
no way. Like that whole circuit process that's in between, where you're going to go with a 3-judge panel, then an en banc panel, stuff like that. Like they do a lot of work for us. So yeah, you're still going to suffer through that. Sorry.
Well, I'm talking more like the justices look at each other and go, "Oh man, public opinion is XYZ, like, the topic or the trend or whatever. Like, we really need to act on this, but we don't have anything on our plate. Let's look around. Okay, let's reach down to this district court and grab this because
It's not
we
un-
want to do something."
They can do that. And Crump throws out the technical name is the interlocutory appeal.
Yes, thank you.
Oh, okay. So it's something they can do, but they don't, or
Yeah.
they
It's got to be something super, super serious.
say,
like,
yeah,
Devastating to the
president doing
country.
something wild, or like there's a war happening, like something that they
Yeah,
really have
like-
to act on. This is just news
Like
of the
both
day.
presidential candidates die before the inauguration. Something along those. So it's got to be something of that magnitude.
Well, that makes sense.
But there is something that does happen from time to time, and that's where a justice might pen a letter to a lower court saying, "Hey, this is on our radar. Tread carefully."
Yes, they can do that. And they have done that. Where they'll tell the little court, make sure you get this right.
So we got people out there. I don't know if it's taken it on tangent again, but what about building? Why are we doing all this talking about what stores and when, and like, is this or is this not? If you remember the GOA, you can start building and assembling. I don't know if you need a Form 1 anymore if you don't have an NFA item. You don't need a Form 1 if you're going to put together a flintlock. You don't need a Form 1 if you want to assemble a Glock or one of them 80% receivers. You don't need a Form 1 if you buy a lower and an upper. Well, I guess you need it if you buy a lower. If you build your own lower and assemble it into an AR, there's no Form 1. So now if you build it into less than 26 overall, less than 16 barrel.
You can buy an assemble blower and not have to do a Form 1. You just have to.
Well, I'm just trying to say, like, so that you don't have to even talk to an FFL, essentially. So you just start with parts. And then, of course, the fun of the noise things, you can make those things too.
I think part of the reason that that's not being talked about much is just because there are businesses that were plaintiffs in this, and with that, and it's not like it was some mom and pop business that nobody really had heard of. You've got some big names in the industry that were plaintiffs on this case. So I don't know how much money those businesses poured into this, but I'd imagine that there's a wanting to recoup their money. And I realize that doesn't answer the question of why is the idea of people building out their own SBRs or SBSs, et cetera, not being talked about. But I think it is just easily overlooked because there's, I think, more question regarding, if you are going to be a PSA customer or Silencer Shop or Silencer Co. or
well, it's been mostly about the cans, because I'm assuming people have cans in the pipeline, or they're about to buy one, and should I wait and buy it or buy it now? That kind of thing. And that's why I guess they're looking at what's on the shelf at a store in front of them, and most of the time, what's on the shelf in front of them isn't like a bag of parts to do DIY.
Yeah, and that's why I'm saying I think with all the questions that are being raised about some of these things, like if you're going to be a purchaser, a customer of those businesses, there's a lot of questions still. Like, what if I don't live in the state that they sell in? So now I've got to have it shipped to me. Does that count? Does the FFL that I have it shipped to have to be a Class 3 still? There's a lot of dynamics there.
Yeah, that's exactly what both the Four Boxes Diner and Chris's guest that was on there earlier from the suppressor company in Texas were talking about, where if you're having to have it shipped from the person you bought it from to a dealer so that you can have it transferred on a 4473, do you also have to fill out the Form 1 or the Form 4?
And say now when it comes to anything regarding the organizations, with WEM to understand it, like if I want to take one of my AR pistol builds where I put a 8.5-inch upper on AR-15 lower, and now I slap a stock on it
And a
instead
can.
of a brace,
Mhm.
or a can for that matter. But I mean,
and a can. You can do both.
I say
And
I don't
really
have the capabilities to make a can though, at least not at this time.
Can you hear that, dog?
Actually,
Who's dripping something?
Oh, that's my dog. I don't know if he's
Oh,
got like
okay.
the hiccups or something. He's sleeping. He's going to make that noise.
I was wondering what that
He's
was.
he's at like my feet, so he's like 3 feet from the mic making that noise. Sounds like a frog.
so
Okay, hope he's
if
not.
this would be a good time to have Crump in here because I remember catching part of his live stream last night, and him and DLD After Dark were because the parts kits. So the one thing they were talking about was the solvent traps, and the problem there is with the solvent traps.
There's no problem, but go ahead.
Well, so they're all being shipped in from China, all that fun jazz, and
Go ahead.
it's coming in as already made suppressor. So then it's not covered by these companies or anything. Now, if it was something where you had to go and complete a bunch of work to it, that with the way I'm to understand it would be fine.
Well, I mean, what you're talking about is like I'm not going to say age old, but like I'm not going to say recent either, but like the ongoing controversy of what is a can and what is a kit, like what is just some parts.
Yeah.
And what are some like SKUs on the Grainger website versus those 16 items put into a plastic bag and sold as a set of 16 things together. Once they're not an NFA item anymore, who the hell cares, right? Like, I don't understand. But anyway, that's been a thing up until now for sure.
Mhm.
And I can understand, like, if you buy it, it's like they made a big thing about like 80% cans. I don't remember, like in the 90s or something, like even it was like before the internet even, right? Like the whole like worrying about them at gun shows. Maybe it's happened once or twice during the internet, but I remember them having a fit about can kits way in the olden days, like when nobody even knew what the internet was yet. Like when you'd buy books on how to build shit. Like you could buy the book all you wanted, but then if you bought a bag of stuff that you could assemble, that was a big deal. At some point, up until that point, it was no big deal. Whenever they made it where baffles were part of the can or whatever, like you couldn't take them apart or something. Or I forget when that was.
Yeah,
But,
that was kind of retarded when they did that.
But yeah, so they've had a long issue with like what's a can. But I think the bigger difference is, I guess what I'm asking is, instead of focusing on that, like my question was, does this eliminate that controversy because they're not on the NFA anymore? So, just like if Gizzard bought a bunch of parts and assembled his own flashlight here in the United States out of Chinese flashlight parts, nobody would give a shit. They would just question why he was doing it, right? Like they would legally and nobody would care. And now that they're not regulated, does anybody legally care where we source our parts for our thing that's not legally regulated, that saves our hearing and makes it less annoying to other people?
And for clarification, for those of you who don't know what we were talking about with the baffles thing, a few years ago now, the ATF came up with this new rule that the baffles inside of a suppressor make up being a suppressor in and of themselves. So you couldn't just go out and buy new ones. If you wanted to have your baffles repaired, they wanted you to take your suppressor and send it back to the suppressor company for them to do it.
Yeah.
Whereas before they would just sell you replacement baffles.
And again, I'm going to keep saying we got 3D printers now. We've got other things that we don't have to get into technically, but we have essentially 3D printers, right? And that technology means, why do you need a can to be made out of metal at all? And why do you need a can to last more than a magazine or two? I'm I look fondly to the Glock suppressor that was available in South Africa. Nobody ever talks about it, but it was a disposable suppressor made out of the Glock plastic, and you would shoot it for, I think, a few magazines, and then it would start to get louder as you shot the plastic baffles. You know, it would get worse, and or you know whatever happens inside would wear away, and you would just pull it off and throw it away and grab another one. And in those days, this was like the 90s, I think, or the 80s. Well, it had to be the 90s, I guess. In those days, you know, you'd throw it away. But again, nowadays, you would throw that into a recycling bin. They would throw it into a shredder, turn the shredded plastic back into a ribbon or whatever it's called, and then put that ribbon back into a printer. You would, I'm sure that the ranges will start 3D printing cans, just like in Europe as a courtesy. Like, oh, you didn't bring a can with you today? No problem. Grab one out of the bucket there. Just make sure you get the right caliber.
You know, like I said in the chat for Chris's show, there are parts of Europe where if you go hunting or target shooting without a suppressor, it's considered to be in bad form. It might even be against the law.
Yeah, seriously. So I guess I think we'll get to that point. And I'm just saying, with all that, like, who needs parts? You know what I mean? Like, cans will just be something you buy off the web, or somebody will have, you know, like people make holsters now out of Kydex, you know, like somebody will be making cans somewhere and have them on Craigslist or some shit. Because I think the other thing is, when you're talking about building a can, up until now, we've talked about like building something out of metal because it's going to cost a bunch of money. It's registered and all that crap. It's a pain in the ass, and you're responsible for it. So you might as well make it nice. And you can't probably make it out of titanium. So you're going to buy all kinds of stuff and make sure it's concentric and blah, blah, blah. And the baffles don't get struck and all that. But when you're talking about 3D printed plastic, you know, oh, I've got like 12 of these for today's shooting session, and this one's getting baffle strikes. Like, who cares? You pull it off and throw another one on. So I just don't think we're going to be as, and then if they're not metal baffles, it's not going to affect the round. The round is going to kill baffles instead of vice versa. So it's not going to affect your shooting. Might be a little louder than you wanted it to be or something, but you know what I mean? You might just leave it on even though it's not working right. It's not concentric. I just think we'll have a different opinion of suppressors than we do today. And that's what I'm wondering, like, at what point do we get to do that instead of like worrying about what you can buy at an FFL? I don't really care what you can buy at an FFL. For GOA members, can we just start printing these things?
Now, Aldo Medic says 22 long rifle disposable is one you think I'd print, but he's concerned about higher rifle because of pressure. Well, every year the 3D printing technology gets better. I mean, they're printing parts for on the rockets that are taking the astronauts up and parts up into space for the space station and stuff. SpaceX is printing parts that go on their rockets. I mean, it's just going to be a matter of time before that flows down to the consumer grade stuff. So maybe not right now, but in the future, you could probably print a 30-06 suppressor in the future, I would assume.
For like an AR, you got enough offset from the barrel. If you've got, well, you pretty much have enough offset. You can put on some kind of 2-liter bottle attachment and just shoot a 2-liter bottle till it's noisy and put on another 2-liter bottle. I guess if you don't want to drag around some 2-liter bottles, but I'm thinking of a kid, you know, just going out shooting in the backyard type of thing. Like, not somebody who's trying to impress anybody, but you just want to quiet it down so that you don't have to put earplugs on. Now people can just do that kind of shit.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't want to act like they're not going to keep making suppressors, because I don't think that we haven't talked about machine guns and the fallacy that rich people don't want the machine guns to be legal, because that's bound to come up at some point in this whole discussion with the NFA crumbling. But you know, I don't think there's anybody gatekeeping or whatever the fancy term is nowadays that you know, once suppressors are good to go, I think the technology is going to go nuts. Like, there's going to be all kinds of cool stuff that people do with them and new designs. I mean, I've already seen some designs, like the one that splits in half long ways. Did you guys see that one? I think it's just a 22 can. I don't know how strong it can be like that, but it literally just, it's like a sandwich, like a hot dog bun, I guess. It comes apart like a hot dog bun. So you just, you know, so I'm like, oh, that's super clever, especially for, like, say, something that doesn't have super high pressure. But yeah, people are coming up with, you know, and Silencer Co., they come up with crazy shit all the time. So I can't imagine once they have so many more people in the market, there's going to be like some Kel-Tec of suppressors everybody's going to make fun of. There's going to be like the dead air suppressors that are going to be like I don't know, what are they going to be like I don't want to, just too many companies that I want to call them, but they're going to get bad raps. I was going to say Daniel Defense, but I think they're better than that. But, maybe like, there's going to be some OGs that have been around for a while. And then how many new people will come into the suppressor realm, because everybody's going to want one. Is anybody going to move a suppressor from gun to gun anymore? Like, why would you do that? You're just going to buy a suppressor for every gun you want suppressed, right? Or every gun that has a way to suppress it.
Yeah. To
Another
your
reason
point
I
of,
think disposables are going to be popular because you're going to want to put a can on everything.
yeah, to your point about the machine guns, the people that have the machine guns now, they're antique machine guns. They're still going to be antique machine guns even if they start making new ones for the public. That's not.
Yeah, their prices are going to go up. When there's 100 people with brand new M16s, the one from 1972 is going to be coveted. So their value is just going up. The idea that those people don't want more NFA items is crazy.
Right. The old ones are
Are
finite. There's not going to be any more of them made.
And now there's only 16 people that want it. In the future, there'll be 16,000 people that want it. Yeah, it's going to be nuts.
Mhm.
I don't know
People will
about
be
that.
emulating it for sure, but yeah, people will want the real one.
I say the reason I say I don't know about that is because I think prices will be affected a little bit. It won't be anything, huge, but I think there will be a price drop overall
let's take
because the
Thompsons.
demand isn't going to be as much. What's that?
Let's take Thompsons because ARs are kind of, I think, tougher because there's fewer. Anyway, whatever. Let's take Thompsons. So what is it? Auto Ordnance,
Mhm.
is making them right now. All stupid. They have to conform to the whole gun has to be a rifle, which makes the thing way longer than a Thompson should ever be, and it looks stupid. I mean, I'm sorry to all the people that paid a lot of money for them, but it doesn't look right. And then they sell the pistol, which looks better, but you can't put a stock on it until you SBR it. So they will sell the shit out of those pistols. Holy crap. Somebody will come out with a cool trigger for it if they haven't already, and people will buy the shit out of that Thompson. Or am I wrong? So now you've got these brand new Thompsons that are SBRs or just not anything anymore because they're just cool. And everybody who owns one, they wouldn't just spent like $1,700 to buy one or whatever because they're not going to drop in price or nothing. So they just spent $1,700 to buy one. Now they're going to look around and go, I want one from World War II. Boom. Now that guy that has a $25,000 one says, yeah, now it's worth 30. He doesn't say, oh, it's only worth 12 now because you want it. You know what I mean?
In some cases that could happen, but
Well,
the reason I say
we got a corollary that shows that it'll happen. Why? AR-15 prices have gone down. AK and SKS prices are going up. Why?
Up,
Because
up.
they're rarer than the AR-15.
You can't just make another one out of aluminum tomorrow.
no.
so.
You get a rare World War II machine gun. Making a bunch of M16A2s isn't going to make the value of that World War II machine gun go
Yeah, but
down.
you guys are talking about things where you're getting into a specific collector. And here's my point. Colt Pythons, right before they had started making them again, were up to like $4,000.
And they still are for those older ones.
The
Heck,
ones
the
that I've
newer
been
ones
seeing are like $2,000. They dropped.
I don't know where you're looking. Honestly, if you look on like Gunbroker, there's people charging $5,000-$6,000 for them.
I get what you're saying, though. I think the difference that we're seeing, though, is there's a bigger gap because of the law, right? Because of the rarity in the law or whatever. Since '86, couldn't have nothing new and everything. But I see what you're saying. I don't know. I see what you're saying with the Colts, though.
I mean, with some things, it's only going to benefit, but there are going to be some firearms that are overpriced right now, and whenever the Hughes Amendment falls, some of those arms are going to drop in price.
I don't think so. It might happen if a dude has because I know people that have like 6 Stens or something because they bought cheap guns right when they could or something, or somebody sold them and they bought them because they knew they were going to go up. If somebody's got like a pile of them and they need the money, yeah, sure. But I think overall people know what they got and they're not gonna need to sell it. And then we're talking machine guns. Honestly, there's how many machine guns exist, and we're not factoring in a very big piece of the machine gun market at this point is the recreational machine gun company. So something like a Battlefield Vegas or those places in Vegas, there's a whole bunch of them actually, places in Florida that do that. I think there's places in Tennessee at this point, and I'm probably missing other places that do recreational or like for what should I say, for like people traveling, right? Like in international, and those people actually suck in a lot of the NFA stuff. So it really doesn't matter what it costs when a company is buying it, and you can't just make a new, I don't know, some weird gun that exists on the from on the NFA somewhere that's non-transfer or that is transferable. You can't just make those guns out of nothing. You could, I guess, technically, but they don't bother. But I am talking about I think we are talking about a small number of guns, and that's similar to what you were talking about with the Colts. Like, I think there's more people going to be interested in machine guns in general, but yeah, the World War II machine guns or like the Thompsons or something, there's going to be a smaller group of people, and just because they're legal isn't going to make a bunch of people give a shit about something that cost a ton of money to shoot. Because it doesn't matter how much you paid for your machine gun, you got to have money to blow, thousands of rounds basically, unless you're never going to shoot it. There's going to be a lot of 22 and 38 or not 38, 380, like I think there's going to be a lot of little small caliber machine guns. I guess I'm jumping ahead to machine guns being legal.
When are we
Sorry, I
going to be able
fixing
to
my
get?
headphones.
When are we going to be able to get tactical nukes? That's what I want.
I always wanted to turn myself into a tripod. That's a good question, Gary.
Auto Actor says a clone of an MP40 can be made, but value is still up for the real one, never dropped. It's the historicity that affects it primarily. Yeah, the historicity of it, what you can prove and not prove about ownership, where it came from, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. That all comes into play. Not
But that's
just
what
whether there's another one beside it.
But that's what I'm saying. The things that have historical value, yeah, they're not going to be affected because the collector of that is interested in the historical value. But when you're talking about people that just want a full auto, and not every M16 out there was used in Vietnam.
Nobody said they were. We're not talking about those ones. We're talking about the ones that have actual history to them. There's nothing is going to drop the prices because you can make a clone of it. That's what we're saying.
But the statement was that the prices wouldn't drop. What I'm saying is some things will. I'm not saying all of them. I'm saying some things will.
Well, you still get
no. I'm giving it to you. I agree with you.
Serps still go up in price.
Yeah, I think in general they will all go up, but I agree they could go down for a bit, and they might go down from their historical highs because there won't be this artificial thing. I just don't think they all drop in price to where people are selling a $25,000 Thompson at a loss. I keep saying that because I know a guy who sold his Thompson for $25,000.
We might see the market flood right away with a bunch of surplus M16s. Who knows? I don't know what the government has in storage.
No, that's exactly what'll happen because people did, and in like '86 when it was happening, and a couple of times where they had a minute to do it, they would buy M16 lowers and just put them in boxes. So that will be the first things that come out.
And then it'll be like the Chinese when they flooded our market with SKSs and AKs. They were super cheap at first, but then as they started dwindling, they shot up in price to where we're looking at them now, where an SKS will cost you upwards of $1,000. Whereas back when they first started flooding the market with them, you get one for 50.
50, shit, yeah.
The most
6 for
or the most recent, probably the Mosin. How many of us look back and like, man, I could have picked up.
Oh, yeah. What about that Mosin revolver, dude? Nobody even wanted those for $60. I can't even imagine what they cost now. I should have bought it. My
son-in-law has one. He has a Nagant revolver.
And it's not, you can't buy ammo for it. There's absolutely no reason to own it, but chase change, and it'll probably go down in price again, but it'll go up again.
Yeah, I mean, if there's another flood of them that comes in, we'll never see those prices again of 60 and $80. But recently, whenever I see one pop up at the gun shop, because I don't even see them pop up that often anymore. It's normally like $500-600. I was just like, oh god, it makes me want to puke. But again, if there was another flood of them, they'd probably go down a few $100 until that flood dries up and they start to pick up again.
Talking like SKSs or something, or we're about to see a flood of stuff at the CMP. Like, is that going to change was it Garand's or is it 1911 for
M14s.
both?
They were talking M14s.
Oh, so those aren't a little bit different. I was thinking so when there is a flood of Garand's or Garand's, I'm going to start doing Garand when I'm talking about the gun and Garand with the dude. I think that's the way to do it now. But anyway,
when interesting dynamic too.
Does that affect the price of Garand's? No, like they'll come in at $700. A bunch of people, greedy stealers, will steal. Because now they changed the rules, so like the greedy can just grab like 6 if they want them. I guess, right? So those people grab them up. Does that affect the price? At the Wanamaker show? I don't think so.
Yeah, but all those M14s are going to be transferable because they're all pre-86.
Oh, hold on. You're talking full auto M14s that are transferable?
Yeah.
And then we're ideally looking at a NFA crumbling. That's nice. That's awesome.
I thought
awesome. I don't even like an M14, but I'm happy for all the Marines that are going to be happy.
I thought all the M14s that were going to go into the CMP were converted
to semi.
Yeah.
Well, they wouldn't have to be.
They wouldn't have to, but from what I understand, what's coming in is
didn't break something. Well, even if they did, somebody will make a conversion kit.
Well, you can repair. You can take a old pre-86 and you can turn it back full auto, and it's not considered a new construction. It's
I don't remember. I've never even. I mean, I fiddled with an M14 once. I don't even know if I've ever shot one, but from what if I'm remembering the right gun, the full auto stuff, it comes off. And then it's a semi-auto. You just put that full auto shit back on, right? Or am I not correct on that gun?
I'm not sure how the M14s work.
Yeah, I'm not familiar enough with M14s.
Is that an M2 if it's not an M14? No, that's M2 is the carbine.
Yeah,
so
the M2's
I don't know
the full auto carbine.
I'm thinking of like an old guy at a range was like, and if you put this back in, it would be full auto. So I'm not even trying to be like an expert, but I seem to have some recollection of somebody pointing at a part on his M. What's an M14 semi-auto called? Is it still just an M14 then?
You guess as good as mine. I would guess maybe.
Maybe the guy was Army now to think about, because I don't think he was a Marine. But whatever, he's this old guy that when I used to volunteer at the range, he was showing me like the M14. Because again, I've never owned one.
But you could be right about the M2 too, because again, remember back then the military reused the numbering system on everything. That's why there's like 10 different things from World War II that are an M1.
Yeah, no, exactly. No, then I think the M14 is after all that. That's what I'm saying. I don't remember what its semi-auto is called. But anyway,
Aldo says it's still an M14.
It's too bad Skagit Valley Guns isn't out there. He could fill us in on all this.
People can't be awake this late.
Darn gnomes.
Can you imagine FFLs today? Hello? Nope, not today yet. Nope, I don't know. We're waiting for the ATF. Hello? Nope, not today yet. No, we don't know. No, we're waiting for the ATF. Hello? No, not, you know what I mean? Like all day long.
Yeah.
Or have an answering machine. If they still had one, like dust off the answering machine.
Well, and that
we don't know. We're waiting for the ATF.
That almost, I just had a thought, and that kind of sucks too. How many people just don't understand? Like, hey, there's things as a business that they've got to worry about. So if they tell you no, it's not that they don't want your money. They don't want to. It's not that they don't want to do that transaction for you, but they've got to make sure all the I's are dotted and T's are crossed. And if they have to tell people no, that could lose them a lifetime customer just because the person's ignorant.
Mm-hmm.
Sounding like it's not a big deal to put back in the full auto guts.
Yeah. Apparently, Justin says it's an M14 with the full auto guts because that's what the M14 refers to is the select fire connector, and he
Yeah.
says it's real easy to put it back in.
But like I said, I don't think I've ever shot one, but I've seen people shoot them, and then the whole point was the reason they took them apart was because nobody liked shooting them in full auto, right? Like it was good theory or something. They didn't like it. Then didn't they give it to Marines, or is it that the Army didn't want it? We gave it to Marines. I don't remember how it went.
Well,
For
back
free.
then the Marines got whatever the Army didn't want, so
That's what I mean. I don't know if they got it or if they asked for it, but if for some reason I recollect the M14 being a Marines gun.
yeah, it's because that's what you see in the early Vietnam movies of the
Okay.
Marines with the M14 and
But they've
Full
never
Metal
been
Jacket.
inexpensive. I've only seen a couple. Like they're not inexpensive guns. So if they're going to have them at whatever it's called, I think that's pretty cool.
Full Metal Jacket probably has the most iconic scene of the Marines with the M14.
So
I probably shot one at Waltz now that I'm thinking about it.
let's say we get suppressors completely wiped out nationwide, except for states that hate freedom.
You mean
Do we start seeing most every firearm come out with threaded barrels?
oh, I thought you were
See,
going
I
to
was
say
wondering-
integrally suppressed.
I was wondering that question too. Is it going to be hard to sell a firearm that doesn't have a threaded barrel after that?
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Yeah,
Because-
yeah. It'd be
We're
like
already-
it's like selling something without a red dot plate on it
Yeah.
nowadays.
It's like
Yeah.
almost every gun on the market now has a threaded variant already.
But there
True.
are states where if you have a threaded barrel and it can take some sort of muzzle device, then it's
Yeah.
illegal.
Yeah,
Mhm.
So-
I think things will shift. Those states will get a hell of a lot of people's used guns as they. But the thing is, you can take a gun, most guns, and take it to a competent gunsmith and have it threaded.
Oh,
So,
100%. Let's say Mike out at Tamarack Armory, my LGS for anybody that's new watching. He's a terrific gunsmith, and honestly, in the last year, he's probably shown 3 or 4 different posts of barrels that he's threaded. He's like, hey, if it's something that you're interested in, we can do it.
and they're going to get better and better at it. You know what I mean? It'll be like doing twice the amount. I can't even imagine. But what about integrally suppressed? I would assume somebody's rolling up their sleeves right now, going like, "Heck yeah!" Like now I can finally just
Oh, yeah,
build
you
it
can
for the
do it.
company this way.
An integrally suppressed SBR be about the size of a 16-inch barreled AR-15 right now.
I'm wondering, they should already be doing this, but we have thermocouples, which will take heat and turn it into electricity. So we're taking the pressure and the temperature away from the exhaust in order to bring the sound down. So why aren't they made out of giant thermocouples so that we're powering our optics and shit with it? So I'm waiting for guns to just have that. You know what I mean? And then if you start creating electricity from the recovered energy, now you can start using a electric primer instead of a moving firing pin. Now you don't
Stop.
need all
Stop
that
doing
kind
that.
of
You're going to give the smart gun people ideas.
I'm not
Let's
about
say-
smart guns, but I just want to see caseless ammo or something cool.
I don't know.
Well, the idea, as you're saying that I just had, kind of like a hot shoe on a camera, except you
Yep.
attach your optic via Picatinny still, and that the Picatinny's acting as like a hot shoe.
It pulls electricity through it. Yeah. And
Uh-huh.
now it can do a hell of a lot more, right? Lasers and shit. So, right, like I can't imagine what they're going to be able to figure out with guns. And now, like, some little gun that before was just wasting all this energy being loud can now be, I don't know, you know what I mean? Like quiet and, I don't know, cycling the next round somehow.
Although I will say I still don't like the idea of charging any optics or anything like that, just because eventually those batteries are going to wear out, and then you have to go buy a new optic. I much rather play with batteries.
Capacitors, because I deal with dash cams on windshields in Arizona. So
Mhm.
think of like things being baked. So batteries up there versus capacitors. Capacitors can handle the heat, where batteries melt and fry out after not too long. So it's one of the reasons they make different kind of dash cams. I don't know if everybody's ever thought of that before, but so I'm thinking just different electronics. You don't need a battery necessarily, but if you had enough capacitors that can handle all that heat and shit and the fast discharge and shit. And it depends on what you're powering too, right? Is it a laser? Is it a light? Or is it an optic? Because I'm thinking lights, that needs a battery, but I don't know. Like I say, especially if the stuff is integrated into the frame and all that. It's not like we're not making massive advances in batteries all the time.
Yeah. You still got to watch heat on the capacitors too, because like a power supply in a computer, it's nothing but a bunch of capacitors, but it has a fan on there because it still builds up heat.
Right. Well, we're hopefully taking that heat and using it to make the electricity. So anyway, I'm just going off on a tangent that can't wait to see what kind of innovation is going to happen, with 3D printers and materials and everything we got these days. Because the other thing we're talking a little bit, mostly talking about suppressors, I guess, but I guess you specifically asked about suppressors, but short power rifles and shotguns bring any other weapons with them, and that's canes and pens, all the stuff I've always liked, but has been either a $5 tax $5 tax.
I think the judge said it doesn't apply to that stuff.
No, I know it doesn't right now, but I'm just saying, like, if we're seeing this all slip away and not too long reasonable future here, AOW is just being treated as firearms again. Then I see, like I say, I've been saying this for a long time. I see a lot of innovation happening then when guns don't have to look like guns anymore. But that's wishful thinking, I guess. 2 hours into the show.
Aldo says tritium is supercapacitive combo. Yeah, but tritium has the same problem as batteries that will expire.
Oh, somebody was saying something about 3D printed suppressors. I didn't even think about that. I think 3D printed because I think of my Glock suppressor, but yeah, I don't know what it costs to 3D metal print, but I'm guessing it gets cheaper every day. And if it doesn't have to be made out of like ultra titanium because it has to last forever, if it can just be made out of like the cheapest metal because it's only a 45 can or something. What has that pressure? Does 45 have pressure? I can't even imagine, right? Like probably has to be 10 millimeter or bigger before it has real pressure. I never really paid attention. Or is there like 9 millimeter has pressure and I don't know it?
9 millimeter out of the standard carry rounds, like 9, 40, 45, 10 millimeter is the lowest. 40 is twice that of 9 millimeter almost.
Okay, but they're still way lower than like rifles.
They're still way lower than rifles.
So I'm guessing those can be made out of like lesser quality printed metal. And plus, like they were already talking about making like sub $300 cans years and years ago. So somebody who really wanted to and knew that they didn't have to worry about all the legislative hassle or whatever it would be called, regulatory hassle, could just be popping them out of like inexpensive aluminum tubing with some aluminum caps and aluminum baffles. Or fiber, what's that called? Carbon fiber tubes, that kind of thing.
Buy when you shoot it 100, 500 times and you got to throw it away.
Yeah, exactly.
Just go buy a new one.
Or, slide it through this slot every once in a while. And as soon as it can't fit through this slot that's like a no-go gauge, then throw it away and buy a new shroud or whatever. Or, replace the outside part.
Red box suppressors. Turn in your old one and get a new one.
What about glass suppressors? Have they made those yet? Like Pyrex, it's super strong.
Be interesting.
It's probably too heavy. I think there's some test tubes and shit that are super strong glass though. It's probably brittle or whatever. Like, but again, if you're taking it to the range, who would care? Probably look cool. Oh, ceramic. Yeah, that makes more sense.
So what's the bracket, barbecue? You always ask me. It's my turn to ask you.
A bracket. What kind of show do you think this is?
One that usually has a bracket.
Oh. Is that what we're wanting to do?
I don't know. Are we?
I'll be getting a suppressor for my 22 short revolver.
You know what? If you would have been prepared, you'd have had a bracket about suppressors.
I don't know enough about suppressors to do a bracket on suppressors. You can do that on Sunday. However, I did make
I'm like you. I really don't know enough.
I did make a bracket of best caliber to short barrel rifle and suppress. So if we want to do that, we can do that.
We want to do that.
Sounds good to me.
Gary, you awake?
No, I nodded off a few minutes ago.
That happens.
But now I'm awake thanks to you.
You're welcome.
Okay, you're welcome.
Share. Is that screen sharing?
Yes.
Excellent. All right. So on this list, we have G-Web's favorite caliber, 9mm. We have 10mm. We've got 458 SOCOM, 300 Blackout. That is a weird friggin' noise all of a sudden. What is that?
Somebody getting attacked by a swarm of bugs.
Hold on. Let me enlarge my screen a little bit more.
That's what she said.
I'm gonna say I wish I could do it this easily. I just clicked the button a few more times and went from being enlarged at 250% to 400%. Like, how amazing would that be? So 458 SOCOM, 300 Blackout, 350 Legend, 450 Legend, 3030 Winchester, 308 Winchester, 44 Magnum, 556 or 223, because those always get lumped together anyways. 224 Valkyrie, 6.5 Creedmoor, 22 long rifle, 22 Magnum, 300 Whisper, and 45 ACP. So that is tonight's bracket. Again, the idea is which one would be best suit to, or what caliber would be best for making a short-barreled rifle and suppressing. And it can be whatever parameters that you feel like, maybe not necessarily making it hearing safe, but it's just something that you think is going to be fun. I don't give a flying shit. It's
Did you have both 300 Blackout and 300 Whisper on here?
Yeah.
They're basically the same cartridge.
I know. Tell me something else to put on there. I don't have 40 on here. I could probably put 40 on it.
And there's 45 ACP on there?
Yes.
Okay.
357 SIG.
Somebody said
There we go.
8.6 Blackout, but I don't know enough about 8.6 Blackout.
5.7?
45 gap.
5.7, yeah, 5.7 will be good.
5.7 would be a pretty fun one. Yeah, I think we'll put on
Or
5.7.
45 Colt to be like on a lever. They were talking about suppressing that on that show, weren't they? It's going to be pretty tough to suppress.
So, Rich, tell me when to stop shuffling, sir.
Stop.
All right. I got to zoom back in. Here we go. So, first we have 350 Legend versus 6.5 Creedmoor. Rich.
I'll go 350 Legend because you can do that in the AR-15.
You could do 6.5 Creedmoor in an AR-10. Or better yet, an
but it's more
LR308.
of a pain in the neck to put together.
Wuss.
Gary,
Gary.
you gotta make sure you have the same parts, kits, and everything because they're not as
Well, that's why I
as what
said
an AR-15 is.
That's why I said LR308 after I said AR-10. But Gary, 350 Legend
350.
or 6.5 Creedmoor?
350 Legend.
G-Webs.
Whatever Rich said, I agree. I don't like 308 or all the weird 308 ARs.
So G-Web's going with 350 Legend. I'm going to go with the 6.5 Creedmoor because LR 308s. Yes. But doesn't matter. 350 Legend moves on. So now we have 45 ACP taking on 556/223. Rich.
45 ACP. For all that the 556 is good for, it's really not one of the better suppressor platforms.
Gary.
I got to go with Rich again. 45 ACP.
G-Webs.
45 versus what?
556/223.
One of them's cooler and one of them is more practical. So I guess 556, but I guess I'm going to lose.
I don't know. This one's tough for me.
I want to suppress Thompson. That'd be pretty cool.
I'm just not that into pistol caliber carbines.
You're right. I'm changing it to 45 because I didn't think of a Mac 10 that wins.
Mhm.
Well, just because I don't feel like clicking more buttons, I'll leave the vote there for the 556 and 45 ACP moves on. Now we have 308 versus 44 Magnum. Rich.
I'm going to go 44. 44 lever gun with a suppressor on it. Deer hunting? Yeah, I'll take that around here.
Gary.
44 Magnum.
G-Webs.
It would need to be like a non-concentric, sort of like a silencer co hanging down so that it didn't get in the way of the sights on a lever gun. So I would put that on my Desert Eagle in 44 Magnum.
Ooh, I like it.
What was the other caliber? 308? Yeah, I don't
308.
like it that much. I mean, 308's okay, but I don't like it that much.
Like a suppressed LR 308 would be fun, I think. But then when you think about turning that into an SBR as well, I don't know.
A
And
308 scout rifle with a can, you're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd take that, I guess.
It'd be
I'd rather
interesting.
have more fun with a 44, though.
And that's where I'm at. I'm like, I love 44 Magnum too much to vote against it. So now we have 458 SOCOM taking on 5.7. It was supposed to be 300 Whisper, but we voted to change that to 5.7. So, Rich.
I'm going to go 5.7 because that is a fun round to shoot.
That it is. Gary.
5.7. I'm like 6.7, not quite.
G-Webs.
Almost.
Well, unlike Gizzard, I don't have to vote with whatever Rich votes all the time, so I'm going to vote 5.7.
Oh, voting 5.7. I like it. I'm actually going to go with the 458 SOCOM. I've always been enamored by that round. I'm not really sure why. I just am. It's a kind of kick-ass name. So now we've got the 22 mag taking on the 30-30. Rich.
22 is fun to shoot, but around here, suppressed 30-30 will make a hell of a deer rifle. I'll go with the 30-30.
Ooh, Rich going 30-30. Gary.
Just to prove G-Web's wrong, I'm going with 22 Magnum.
Has nothing to do with that pug that you own.
No. Oh, that would be so cool to suppress.
Right?
Right? The can would be about the size of a film canister.
Uh-huh.
G-Webs.
30-30 with the
30-30.
lever action, for sure. Have you seen the lever action that I think Roosevelt or somebody used? It was in the NRA, it's still probably in the NRA museum. That's the first time I seen a can on a lever action. It was awesome.
Yeah, they had it at the Great American Outdoor Show a few years ago
Oh, cool.
at the NRA booth.
I, too, am actually going to go with the 30-30 on this one. I don't know, something about a lever action with a can is just really badass. And granted, you could have a lever action 22 mag, but lever action 30-30, like classic. Come on. Especially if you put a scope on that.
Mhm.
So now
It's
we've
not
got
big.
right. That's all right. So on one of his Facebook videos, he was shooting a tactical lever action. I'm guessing goals. And he's like, man, that's really fun, blah, blah, blah. And it had an optic on it. I was like, what? An optic on a lever action? And you didn't get a rash? And some guy apparently, obviously does not know snob's disdain for lever actions having optics or anything. And he comments to me, he's like, what are you talking about? And I didn't know that he had commented to me. So then he commented to me again and was like, what? Question mark. I was like, oh, the poster of the video hates optics on lever actions, so I thought he would have a rash.
Mhm.
I don't know if he ever replied or not, but so now we got 22 long rifle taking on 9mm. Rich.
9mm for the integrally suppressed MP5.
Interesting. Gary.
I'm going to go on record as saying 9mm shouldn't have anything cool. I'm going with 22 long rifle.
Ooh. G-Webs.
If you look at this practically, ethically, then 9mm, if you voted for 9mm, that's a vote for taking away the entry level caliber to guns for people.
Mhm.
That's just taking away guns from children, taking away guns from new shooters and people who don't know what's going on yet. Plus, all the people who need the 22 for food. We all know that the 9mm is a bastard caliber from Europe that's only used for recreation. So I couldn't ethically ever vote for 9mm.
I agree with everything that G-Web said. I too vote for 22 long rifle. So now we have 10mm versus 450
Did we
Legend.
just take out 9mm on the first round?
We did.
Yes.
Oh, I feel good about this bracket. At first,
say
I
it's
had
pretty
really good
awesome.
about this bracket, but now I'm really
I say-
enthusiastic.
There's not a whole lot that could happen after this point that really matters. The fact that 9mm is gone first round, terrific. It would have been great if it was skunked, but
There's
you
a
know,
whole shit ton of people right now, left-handed people mostly, but they can't sleep well, like because
Yeah.
it's too late for them. They're already asleep, but like something's like they have to get up and pee, and they're like, "What's going on?" Like I don't. They're all like fidgety, and it's because 9mm is out in the first round.
Mhm.
It's like a
Same.
disruption in their force.
That's why Rich actually voted for it with that wee hockey elbow injury. He's really basically left-handed now.
That's like choosing to be left-handed. That's worse than regular left-handedness.
But you think he would just suck it up. Instead, he embraces it and votes for 9mm. How disgusting is that? So, Rich, 10mm or 450 Legend?
Ooh, this is a tough one. I like both rounds in this kind of platform. You got the suppressed MP10, which is the 10mm version of the MP5, or you can go in the 4570 round made for the AR-15. I got to think about this one. Go to Gary.
Gary.
10.
10. Fucking 10. If you never watched Varsity Blues, folks, you would not get that reference I just made. But I then have to encourage you to go watch it. Unless you don't like sports ball, then you're an American. G-Webs.
The only good millimeter is the centimeter. So I'm gonna
Agreed.
go with centimeter. Because in a 1911, no. I don't know what other weird gun somebody might put it on, but I'm going to put it on a cool Delta Elite or something.
High Point put it in their line, so there's that. And that's what I was kind of thinking. Getting a new
I feel
barrel.
like it would beat up a MP5. I mean, I know they're not fragile, but I'm just saying like unnecessarily wear it out. Just
Yeah,
because
the MP10 was a little
so
bit
much.
bigger. They
it
they
is? Okay.
upsized it.
It's like the 308 version of the AR.
Yeah.
Like, get a new barrel for my Delta Elite, have it threaded, and have a suppressed Delta Elite. Like, how badass
Yeah.
can you be?
Yeah.
So,
Sounds good.
Rich, what's your vote?
I think to be different, I'll go with the 450 Legend because I really can't decide between the two of them.
Fucking left-handed people.
Hey, 45 Legend's a cool round.
Straight wall, it's gay.
450. It'll tear a head off a deer. I've seen it happen.
Straight wall, it's gay. So, 300 Blackout or 224 Valkyrie? Rich.
300 Blackout.
Gary.
300 blackout.
G-Webs.
300 Blackout is normal. The other one is trying too hard with that weird name. So 300 Blackout. I don't know much about either one of these, but I'm not around. I don't mind saying 300 Blackout. I don't want to say the other one because it sounds weird.
Yeah, the 224 Valkyrie is more of a distance round than it is a suppressor host.
Sounds like I need to braid my beard and put rubber bands on it to say that other one, and I don't want to do all that. It's too much effort.
So now we have 350 Legend taking on 45 ACP. We are in the quarterfinals, folks. Rich.
I'm going to go with the deer round and go with the 350 Legend.
45 ACP is a deer round. I know a guy that shot a deer with his 1911.
Several
Yeah, but it
times.
took him multiple times. Yeah, Magnum.
Gary.
I'm an American. I'm going to go with 45 ACP. 2 World Wars, baby.
G-Webs.
What's the competition again?
350 Legend or 45 ACP?
Mac 10. I don't even know what that other one is.
It's a deer round made for the AR-15.
It's a dumb straight wall cartridge for states that don't let you have a bottleneck.
Oh, yeah. No, Mac 10. The suppressor that exists. That's like the best suppressor that ever is married with the gun.
This is an interesting matchup. 44 Magnum or 5.7. Rich.
I'm going to go 44.
44. Gary.
44 because America.
Oh, foe. G-Webs.
Yeah, 44 is interesting and stuff, but a 5.7 with 50 rounds, and I've shot 5.7 full auto. Like, there's a reason 5.7 exists. I'm gonna go with the 5.7.
G-Webs going with a 5.7. I own a 5.7. I really.
What 5.7 you got? A pistol?
I've got the Ruger. I want to get the FN just to have it.
But not like a rifle or something.
No, nothing in rifle platform. No.
I like it. I mean, it's a goofy, stupid little round, I guess, but I still like it. You know, it's just a little 223, right?
But
if you put a 50, a 308, a 223, and a 5.7 next to each other, they look like Russian dolls because they're all the same proportions.
Oh, yeah, proportion-wise, yes.
Yeah.
I say, a long time ago, somebody told me, they're like, oh, yeah, it's just a neck down 223. And when I finally got one, I was like, no, it's not. You can fit the friggin' case inside the 223.
But I think it is literally like whatever that's called, like you say, proportion down. Like
yeah,
that's what they designed it to be. Yeah.
So, like I said, I really
even
like
the little pistol. I mean, the pistol doesn't weigh nothing. It holds like 50 rounds or 30 rounds or something. It's crazy. It's awesome. I mean, I don't like it that much, but I can understand being cool.
The Ruger, I think, holds 21.
Oh, I haven't shot the Ruger even, so I'd have to shoot that one day.
I'm not a huge fan
metal
of
or is it a plastic gun.
Plastic.
Okay.
I'm not. I love Ruger. Some would say Ruger fanboy, but their polymer handguns, I really dislike anymore. The plastic just seems very thin and cheap, and That's the only thing I don't like about that gun is
You played
The
with an
ball.
FN or shot an FN?
I have not shot the FN. I've never even seen one out in the wild.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay. Aldo was
I've
asking
shot-
which is better.
Yeah, I've shot the FN, the Ruger, the Smith, and the PSA, and believe it or not, the PSA felt that's the best out of all of them.
We're in the middle of a bracket doing like what's the best. Sorry, I accidentally said boobs. What's the best caliber for suppressing or SBRing, right? But we haven't even brought SBRing, so 5.7 definitely wins that. Although a 44 SBR, shit, that's actually going to be super cool.
Yeah,
right?
I was gonna say a 44 SBR that you can lug
When
through
you
the
can start
woods.
to put stocks on mare's legs, I didn't even think of that till right now. But
Oh,
holy
yeah.
shit, is that going to be
Yeah.
awesome, man? Holy shit!
Convert
So anyway,
for-
9 million is asking. I just wanted to break in here since they asked an actual question.
Yeah.
New here. Oh wait, yeah, new here. No one can answer this question in Kentucky after the new laws. What's it like buying a suppressor here now? I think the short answer is there is no answer you're looking for because all the gun shops are waiting to get their insight from the ATF, which is trying to figure out, like, wrap their head around the whole thing. So I think
Yeah.
we're all pretty much in this figured out now that the chaotic news that came out was conflicting and not parallel necessarily. And people brought up all kinds of different points. And we've been talking about that for the last hour or so before we started the bracket here. So I think the short answer is we're all waiting. We're not necessarily biting our nails, but we're waiting to hear what the ATF tells gun shops. And then we'll be able to have another round of discussions to kind of figure out what the aftermath is. But
Well, quick question, guys, because I don't remember the full list of states that were included as co-plaintiffs. Is Kentucky on that list? Because that might be one of the things that he's asking about.
I'm assuming it is. I don't
I
know.
believe it is, but it
Well,
doesn't matter
and
for the
we
general
should-
public anyway.
But I was going to say that's why we should possibly make mention that if Kentucky is one of those plaintiffs that was mentioned, the state wasn't representing its citizenry. The state was only representing its own interests. So, like the state police, other agencies like that. So, if that's what your question is based on, it doesn't help you at all being a resident of Kentucky.
No. Your best bet would be if you're a member of GOA. Once they figure out how they're going to verify who is and who isn't GOA members.
Well, from what I understand, GOA's membership is set up where it's not searchable, and there's no way to verify whether somebody is or is not a member of GOA. So
I think the idea would you'd have a card in your hand, maybe.
Yeah, they're going to have to come up with some way to verify it.
well, here's the problem though. So if they're going to be like, well, how do we know you're a member of the GOA? We'll contact them. Well, no, I'm innocent until proven guilty.
Yeah, exactly.
You have to prove I'm not a
Prove
member
I'm not
of
in
GOA.
the GOA. And I think that's the best. I think that is the reasoning why I'm so optimistic, because I think what they'll figure out once they start to figure this out is like, well, I keep saying build it, right? So people go, I'm in the GOA, I'm building an AR, short AR, right? Boom, and it's done. They don't know how
But
many
if
of those
you're-
happen. So if they say like tomorrow or the next day, hey, wait a minute, don't do this. Well, what are they going to grandfather in billions of ones? Because everybody's going to say they made 10 last night. So
Right.
I think at some point they're going to go, you know what? We can't regulate this anymore. Let's just let go. And then
Yeah,
let's
but-
figure out that we can't regulate half this shit, and they'll dismantle a bunch of the infrastructure of the whole bureaucracies of government. It'll be awesome.
Yeah, well, you're thinking about if you make it yourself. If you're going and buying it somewhere, they're going to have it where it's just like when you have to present your ID, you're going to have to present proof that you're a member of the GOA as well.
Why?
Have we done that anything else?
Well, you got to prove that you're who you are with your identification. What I'm saying is they're going to have you present that with your identification to prove that you're who you say you are.
Well, I guess I'm saying I think they'll figure out that that's too complicated or waste of time, so they'll just let go of the regulation.
That
Just-
and I
my
think
God.
that would become a Fifth Amendment fight.
like you can't ask me, or I don't have to tell you, type of thing.
I don't have to tell you, because you're asking me to incriminate myself if I'm doing something illegal.
Oh, I don't know how that works. It's like
I
I
don't
understand there's a lot
think
of-
that'll work. I don't think that'll hold up.
Let's say because again,
It's just a form of identification. They're not going to say that you're implicating yourself for something by saying by
Well, and
presenting
like Woods is
identification.
kind of saying anybody who wants to can just like download a picture, change the word in Photoshop, and print out a
what if? Well, there's that.
I'm a member.
But what if GOA was to just make a free membership where you just don't get shit other than just say that you're a member?
Yeah. If they were cool, they would fucking do that exactly. Like I don't know why they don't already do that. That is amazing.
Right?
I don't know why they don't do that. Seriously,
Their
seriously.
numbers would skyrocket. They could still bombard everybody.
Bombard everybody. They have everybody's email, so they'd be
Mhm.
happy. And they would definitely, that would be a cool move because, you know, whatever they're doing now, people can, I've already seen people, you've seen people sit back and go, this is a cash grab. This is a cash grab by XYZ. And I'm like, are you serious? They're not even hardly talking about like, oh, this is a cash grab by the NRA. It's like, what the fuck? The NRA's standing over there cheering in the background like everybody else.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Aldo says if someone can make a copy of the membership card, well, they do that now with regular identification.
well, there's things, counterfeiting things in driver's licenses and stuff with a Gun Owners America card. It's like literally probably, I mean, I don't know when you
Well,
go
that's what I'm
to
saying.
look
They're
at
going to
your
have to
membership
come up
stuff,
with
you just print it yourself or
they're,
whatever.
they're going to have to come up with something that's going to be like a state ID if they're going to enforce this. Is my point.
That's what I'm
Oh.
saying. I don't think it's enforceable, and I think they're going to understand that and just dismantle it.
Well, hold on. Say because
Never
again,
don't put it past the government to try and come up with a way to where they can enforce it.
Oh, I hear you. I'm just saying once they get to actually sit down and start figuring it out, because they're not going to do this in the room without us. They're going to be doing this in the room with the plaintiffs, and they'll just go all the stuff we just said plus other stuff they figured out, and then the ATF will go, "Oh, you're right. Let's just."
well, hold
They
on
might-
and say,
You know what they
Well,
could
Rich,
even
hold
have
on.
it. Hold
Rich, quiet. Listen, hold on. And say because we're overthinking this. If you remember the GOA, really all that's going to do is give you the ability to build. Because at the end of the day, if you're going to purchase, you still have to purchase from one of these businesses that's listed. So at that point, it
You're talking
doesn't
about
matter.
purchasing again.
No,
We're talking about
No,
building.
because if you're
I'm
if
thinking
you're
building.
if you're GOA, you take your GOA ID, you show it to the dealer, and then you don't have to fill out the Form 1 or the Form 4.
Yeah. You know what? There is precedent or whatever. Because think of like when you'd go to the range and they'd say, or you go to a gun show and they say, give me your NRA card and it's $2 off. So, I mean, it's
There
not,
is a
but we have
there
done that.
is a way they could do it. There is a way they could do it. My identification
But
card.
you'd still.
I present.
My
Hold
point
on.
is,
Let me
you'd
finish.
still
Let
having
me
to-
finish. Let me finish. When I got my identification card, I presented my VA identification. They tagged on my driver's license or my photo ID that I'm a veteran. They could do the same thing if you present GOA credentials, paperwork, and have that printed on
Put it
your
on
photo
PCW
identification.
or something.
So again, my point is though, the only places that you're going to be able to buy one of these SBRs, SBSs, or suppressors from are the businesses named as
No.
plaintiffs.
No. That's only if you're buying
It's
and you're
or.
not a GOA member.
It's not and or.
It's not and. It's or.
Yeah, it's and or. It's not just and. So it's or. So the or is in there. So you only have to be one of those things.
Yeah, you only got to meet one of those.
So
you
you
have
can
to
buy
be-
it from the silencer shop, right? Or be a GOA member, or be a member of the Texas State Rifle and State.
Well, then why even have it? Other than the fact that these businesses were plaintiffs on it, because then you can just go purchase anywhere.
Yes, exactly. No,
If
that's
you're a
one of the
GOA
reasons
member,
I'm saying.
yes.
Like, if you listen to some of these videos that we were talking about, like I was ragging about earlier, is like, yeah, they're making it sound like, you know, our customers, blah blah blah. Like, yeah, your customers, and like, don't forget everybody else, also, guy. Like, yeah, all your customers have all this opportunity, and members of these organizations. So, if you happen to be a member of an organization and buy from there, awesome. But if you're not a member of GOA and you buy from PSA, you're good to go. So it's like, and it's a bunch of
I
people.
got you. Yep.
It's just that, like I say, some of these were being presented as, hey, I'm glad you're buying from us because you're protected, and they didn't really.
Yeah. For some reason, I just had it in my head like, yeah, only these businesses can sell right now. I wasn't thinking of it in the aspect of like, yeah, if you're a GOA member or FPC or, you know, the several other organizations, that are co-plaintiffs that that would allow you to purchase from any manufacturer then.
Mhm.
I'm just gonna take this opportunity to say, like, back in, I don't even know, like 2009 or something, like when I first started doing informational type of gun videos on YouTube instead of just playing around. One of the first things I did is take a look at, like, I'm getting all these different membership urges to join like these different organizations, and I mapped them all out, and I forget what NRA was at the time, but I think I had already become an NRA life member, so I was looking what the life membership was at the others, and it was like $100 for Second Amendment Foundations and $350 for Gun Owners of America. And I remember I did Second Amendment Foundation first because it was way cheaper to be a life member there. And I ended up being a life member of Arizona Citizens Defense League. That was $300. And then I finally did Gun Owners of America for $350, and I'm glad I did because now I think it's $1,000 to be a life member.
Yeah, it's 1,000, or you pay $100 a month for a year, which turns out to be 1,200.
1,200. I mean, neither one is bad because they're using the money, I would say, wisely. I don't think they're burning cigars. I don't see them lighting cigars. I mean, I'm more frugal than they are, but they're doing more work than I am, obviously. So I'm not bitching about them. So I think a way worse place is to spend $1,000.
Yeah,
I'm just saying, I'm happy I bought it a long time ago. But I'm like Woods, I don't have no membership number. I'd have to look at an email from like 2009 to see whatever my membership shit is.
Right.
Yeah, I don't think Woods was in here earlier when we were talking about it. With PSA, you would have to buy directly from them, and to prove that you bought from them, you would have your receipt. You would basically keep your receipt like you would
own
have
a product from them.
Yeah.
Like just owning a product from them doesn't count. You'd have to have some kind of receipt.
No,
That
you
makes
gotta buy your you gotta buy your suppressor or your SBR or your SBS from them.
I mean, the thing is, it would be enforceable if they said, like, from now backwards or something, or from now forwards. But they did. They didn't say or. They said if you have been or will be. So it's like ridiculous. They're basically already covering anybody who puts any effort of any sort into pursuing this automatically becomes covered. I mean, you'd have to try really freaking hard to acquire a suppressor without being in one of these circles, right? You know what I mean? Like to be outside of all these circles. So it just seems, I like Woods' word, unenforceable. That's the way to say it.
No, they'll find a way.
Yeah,
They always
although
do.
saying the ATF will still try stuff, I'm sure. But I guess, I don't know. Like we'll see how it happens. Somebody asked in this chat or in another chat if this will happen in Trump's realm, like, or if it'll spread out past then. What do you guys think? I think that was in the Chris's chat, right?
What do they mean? Like,
I think the question was like, will this all, like, because it's obviously going to take some time to happen. Like, will all this happen soon, or will all this take longer than Trump's, what do they call it? What are they, is his,
The end
what
of
do they
his
call
term.
his term? Thank you. Like, will this take longer than Trump's term? Will this like be shitting around till, years from now, or will this be something that gets resolved sooner than later?
Well, this could light a
Or
fire
somehow.
under Congress, but by next year's, this time January of next year, maybe they will have actually voted to get rid of the registration because of all the damn nonsense that this is going to cause.
perhaps.
That's what I figure, right? Like they're going to have you would assume moms, Bloomberg's going to tell their moms to complain like this is horrible. So it's going to be on the regular news as explained by them, right? So that'll give hopefully a bunch of people who are standing around saying how good we should be an opportunity to grab a microphone and fucking be better than us or better than we should be, right? And present gun owners in all the awesomest ways possible because they're practicing a lot how to present gun owners in 2026. So in other words, instead of having a microphone shoved in the face of Wayne LaPierre, who looks uncomfortable as shit and awkward, wearing a hunting vest and a shotgun draped over his shoulder, saying my rights and my property, right? And just getting bent over by the press saying how he's on junkets and taking judges on boats or whatever. Instead, what are they gonna look at, like Tony Simon and go, look at this son of a bitch who for 10 years he's been trying to, share gun ownership with the world or whatever. Like, how are they gonna compete with what's been happening in the gun scene over the last number of years. And like I say, if they're gonna right now, Bloomberg's gonna be like, oh my goodness, let's clutch our pearls and complain about what's happening and because of Trump, right, or because of what's happening because of the gun industry or whatever they're gonna blame it on. They're gonna put microphones out there. It's given opportunities to all these people who've either got some practice representing us well, like in a modern way, or people that have never had the mic before, but I think are going to be, up to the task of representing gun owners in all the fucking, I'm going to say, diverse ways that we can be represented in 2026. So we really fucking hard for them to keep swearing. So deal with it. It's in the middle of the night, right? It's
Son of a.
hard for people to portray this as a random, excessive, violent, like like all the things they would, like a juvenile, like lashing out, like we hate the government or something, so we need to have our machine guns. Like, who knows how they're going to spin this? But as soon as they put the microphones in front of, like, just think about the people that are on YouTube today, not the like my guns, my freedom people, but or my property, my freedom, but the people who are out there with, like I say, all the actual ways to explain the gun industry. I think we got a real potential to change some paradigm here. At least that's the way I keep looking at it. Where's the Overton window? Where's the perception of guns in society? This isn't any kind of reaction. I'm fucking knocking on wood right now. This is not a reaction to some atrocity by some fucking crazy, right, violent bullshit. This is, hey, like, this is, all the reasons that it's happened. We don't have to explain it to us. We know what it is. This is happening. And one, you can't do nothing about it. But guess what? We're not just ramming it down your throat in 2026, right? So anyway, I see it being a real potential for us. And I don't think the Gun Owners America and shit aren't up to the task. I just don't think they've ever taken it on, actually moving the Overton window, like making guns normal. But holy shit, what if they give the mic to Professor Yamane and all this? And they say, hey, guy who's like a liberal professor, well, how do you make sense of this? Like, get ready, like sit down and, hold my beer. Here's how you get ready for this. And now we have no machine guns. Maybe I'm a little bit too optimistic.
Yeah, the crazy part is all the atrocities lately have been up in Canada.
Oh, you mean violence and stuff? And I don't know, for my feed, I've been seeing a lot of like knife stuff. So I don't know. I watched too many videos of the knife. There's like a scarf lady who was at the Goals who had like a knife proof scarf. And I was like, wow, that's cool. Like I never thought about doing a blade proof scarf because it's so makes sense. And then maybe that's why it's feeding me so many knives.
The one channel I watch on YouTube, it's called Shadiversary. It's two guys in Australia where they test out swords and stuff usually. But they had some of those stab-proof clothing and stuff, like this jacket and this undershirt, and the two of them combined, they could not stab through it with a sword. It was craziness, man.
I have the Bushido way of Bushido in my blood, so I would be able to cut through it, but I can understand why a regular French person wouldn't be able to cut through it.
But anyway, but this decision is going to add a new dimension to the midterm, I think, in November.
Oh, 100%.
Wait, what? To the midterm?
It's going to add a new dimension to it.
That's what I was going to say earlier, and I didn't want to keep taking it on tangents. I don't watch anything.
There's a lot of tangents to go with this.
Is this going to be on regular news? Like, are they saying anything in like normal people news? Because I only ever pay attention to gun shit and maybe a little bit of what's going on Amazon. Like, I almost don't even care about anything except gun shit. So when I went to the hotels going up to Goals, I was like blown away by how lame TV is. So I never watch TV. Are news on TV talking about this, or are they just going to ignore this?
I have no idea, but TV news viewership has dropped. Most people now are getting their news off the internet.
Well, they have to. It's horrible watching TV. Like, I was bitching about this every time I get a chance. Like, it's the same set of like 7 commercials every 10 minutes. It's horrible. I don't know how people can deal with it. I mean, if you had like kids or you had to go do stuff all the time, I guess it's fine. Because like, oh, okay, I got to go do stuff anyway. But just sitting there in a hotel trying to watch something was like torture. I turned the TV off almost every single time, because I was trying to like watch an episode of The Office, which I've seen probably a zillion times. If at home I had it on, just to have noise going, I wouldn't even think about it. But it kept flipping to the same fucking 6 commercials or whatever. It was horrible.
Yeah. Wood said he's seen something about it on NBC.
Okay. And I'm assuming they're grabbing their pearls and saying that, the world's going to end. But Aldo's saying they aren't talking because they are planning how they want to spin it as evil. Yeah, the news. Exactly. Well, they're probably waiting to be given their, what they're supposed to say, right? Like we've all seen, like the news gets handed down by whoever the hell hands it down. And they all end up saying pretty much the same thing, which makes sense. I mean, we're waiting for the same thing from the ATF. Somebody's got to figure this shit out. And then everybody starts telling everybody what was figured out. I'll only hear about it on NPR. Right now, they're more worried about prices of oil and affordability. I wish I had $1 for every time I heard the word affordability.
Mm.
I'm glad to hear suppressors are going to soon be better affordability. Or wait, will suppressors go down in price or will they go up in price because all of a sudden, supplies are getting limited and companies will be overwhelmed and they're not.
I think we'll see
necessarily hire new people. You know what I mean? They're not going to buy new machines just for the initial swell if they've dealt with other rushes in the past.
Yeah, I think we'll see the prices go up initially, and then they'll come back.
Just so it doesn't do like memory prices for computers. Anybody who's bought anything for a computer really knows exactly what I'm talking about.
Oh, they're nuts now, yeah. But that's because of AI or whatever.
Yeah.
Do we see more companies spring up that are like, oh, well, I'm going to make
yes,
Well,
right?
that was one of the things. That's one of the things.
How could they not?
Yeah, that was one of the things they talked about on Chris's show. That there's more of these companies. His guest said he founded his company 2 years ago, G?
Oh, I didn't see the whole show. I got there like 45 minutes late. I guess I missed that part.
Yeah, I think he said 2.5 years ago.
So we very well may not see a spike. If all of a sudden the market is saturated with all these startup companies that are making suppressors, that's a lot of competition.
Let's know if we're still doing the bracket.
Eventually.
Yeah, we got like 3 more questions. It'll be over quick when we go back to it. This is creating suspense.
Yeah, we kind of went off on a tangent somehow.
By the way, I voted for 44 mag because a short barrel suppressed 44 Magnum lever action to take into the woods would be pretty badass.
Mm-hmm.
So 5.7 is eliminated. So, Rich, 30-30 or 22 long rifle?
I'm going to go with the classic deer rifle, go 30-30.
Gary.
Gary,
A long time ago.
22 long rifle.
G-Webs.
Yeah, we're doing SBR and suppressed, and I can't think of a SBR 30-30. I mean, I guess a shorter one would be okay, but no, I'd rather have a pistol caliber one short. So I think, but yeah, I think I would for capacity. So 22, come on, like there's so many things you can do with 22 in both SBR and in suppressed. So 22 all day, every day. I think it'll win.
I'm thinking on this one. I've got to go with 22. Because again, on the short barreled front, like Savage used to make a pump action 30-30. I'm sure there's been other manufacturers that have done the same. But
capacity, once you start chopping the barrel down, now
100%
rounds, right?
But if it's a pump action that it could be feeding from, well, I mean, hell, it could still feed from a box magazine from a lever action. What is it?
No, you could reload from the stock though too. If you can have an SPR, you can make the barrel real short, load from the stock, and that could be cool.
Well,
But,
Henry has a 30-30 that loads from a box magazine.
So
you could reload it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's true. They make 5.56 box magazine levers. Now that I'm thinking about it. Bond just made when I shot it at Goals.
But yep, going with the 22 long rifle on this one.
What about a 22 with a stock on it? I never even thought of that because there's no way to put a stock on one, but now I'm going to figure out how to put a stock on one.
On what?
A Tech 22. You have to be this old to care about Tech 22s, but for a minute there, they were the shit.
So now we have 10 millimeter versus 300 blackout. Rich.
I'll go subsonic with a 300 blackout. With a suppressor, it still hits with the force of a 45 ACP, whereas 10 millimeter is going to be weaker. So I'm going to go with the 300 blackout.
Gary.
10.
G-Webs.
There's probably like technical reasons to go 300 blackout, but I'm hoping that by the time all this NFA garbage is done, we're going to have somebody reproduce the Mac 10s and they'll make a 10 millimeter version for us.
Like it. Yeah, there's a lot of good reasons to go with the 300 blackout in this case. If you're really talking about doing a short-barreled rifle suppressed, 300 blackout is an amazing choice. But I don't like the other part of it where it's really easy to mix up with 5.56 and blow up your gun. So
That's the other way around. You're not going to blow up a gun putting 5.56 into a 300
yeah,
blackout.
you're going to blow up your
the 300
5.56 by putting it into your.
Well, don't have a 5.56. If you got 300 blackout, why do you need 5.56?
Come on.
Because I love America. And with that, I'm voting for 10 millimeter.
Is there a 10 millimeter Uzi or am I crazy?
Oh, I have no
I
idea.
have no idea.
I think I'm confusing it with 45.
So now we have 45 ACP versus 44 mag. Oh, this just gave me a knot in my stomach. Rich.
I think I'm going to go with the 44 still.
44. Gary.
45.
1-4-45. G-Webs.
Mac 10, 1911, Thompson, grease gun. I could go on. Plus World War II. 2 World Wars.
All right.
Think how much quieter the World Wars would have been.
I don't like this. I get to choose between my two carry calibers.
Guys, go 44 and send it to the crowd.
What SBR are they going to make in 44? Because I'm sure they
Mare's
will.
leg.
Well, I was thinking something like semi-auto, but yeah, for sure.
Semi-auto,
Like, I
you
would-
go 429 Desert Eagle, which is the semi-auto version of the 44 Magnum.
But I'm thinking that Beretta Storm or something, like somebody will come up with something like that for 44 because it's easy to put in a magazine. I mean, it's big, but it does. I think it's big for a pistol, but it would be.
Yeah, the
Capable
429
for,
Desert Eagle will feed better though because it's not a rimmed cartridge.
I'm going to send it out to the audience because I can't choose. Let them make this tough decision. So, audience, if you could please vote 45 ACP or 44 Magnum.
I'm
No,
pretty
Auto
sure
can't-
Woods voted for 45 already.
Who did?
Woods.
Woods. Auto
Oh,
can't make up
Aldo
his mind.
45. No, he
Or no,
voted
he just said 45 finally.
Yep.
So, how many is that for 45?
2, none for 44. So
Well, Auto originally was saying 44, and then he changed his mind to 45.
oh, and then we have a vote from the alleged region of Iowa, northern Missouri.
What's that vote say?
Oh, sorry.
Well,
for
he just says
45.
ACP. That could be 380. We don't know.
We'll just assume it's 45.
Yeah.
Well, I'm pretty sure that really puts 44 Magnum to bed. That's a 3-vote lead for the 45 ACP. So we will move on. Now we've got 22 long rifle versus 10 millimeter. Rich.
10.
Gary.
22.
G-Webs.
For all the same reasons, 22. 10's cool and everything, but 22.
I I'm gonna go with the 10 millimeter. Like 22 would be cool, and plenty of great reasons. But one, I love. This is my other carry caliber, and that's only because sometimes I'll carry a 10 millimeter 1911. But with that, how awesome would it be to have a 1911 caliber versus a 1911 caliber? And that's why I just did that. Yep. So, audience, again, please, if we could get your help, 22 long rifle or 10 millimeter.
2 votes for 22, and it looks like 1 for 10.
No, he's just saying 10 millimeter would rock though, but he voted.
Oh,
for
he's voted 22. Yeah.
Oh, so it's 3 for 22.
No. 2 for 22,
2 for
and then
22.
a comment that 10 millimeter. It's a tough decision. 10 millimeter is still good. Oh, and then so unanimous audience vote 3 across the board. There's other people watching, I'm sure. So you can also vote. It's not. There's no cost to vote. They didn't. They don't. They're not being charged every time they vote. Gizzard is. But nobody else.
And unlike a Rich White show, we will not go back and have people join and change the votes. We don't pull briefcases out from under the table at 2 a.m.
Wood says suck at barbecue.
I'm pretty sure that means 22 long rifle.
Well, technically, there are 1911s that are chambered in 22 long rifle.
I
what's
have one
cool?
chambered in 22 mag. It sucks.
For some reason, that made me think of briefcase guns, and that means that briefcase guns, AOWs, won't be a thing of the past.
Briefcase gun. The MP5 that was disguised inside of a briefcase.
Yeah, there's MP5s, there's cranks. I'm sure there's 22s.
Well, 22 long rifle has won this thoroughly. So we're moving on to the finals now, folks. We got 45 ACP versus 22 long rifle. Which
one's
caliber is best to SBR, suppress, or both?
I don't think there could be a winner or a loser.
I'm going to take 45.
Rich goes with 45. Gary.
22.
G-Webs.
I mean, I know that in the tabloids tomorrow, people will say that I just refuse to vote with Gizzard, but I'm voting 45. But I mean, I definitely can do it. This is the most difficult decision. 22 is an excellent caliber for everything we're talking about.
And I know it's hard for you to disagree with Rich. So
I don't know. I got to do whatever Rich does. It's a lot easier to just do whatever Rich does. He doesn't yell at you if you do what he does.
He'll start shipping you cats. That's the problem.
that's truth. Yeah. I got enough cats.
Now you only got one.
Like, people used to worry about getting anthrax in the mail, and now they got to worry about getting felines from Rich.
Cat tracks in the mail.
It's like, what's wrong with this guy? Oh, he's got leukemia. Oh my god. What kind of monster would send this, Rich White? You know what? We're gonna send this,
Amy. She does all the mailing.
we're gonna send this out to the audience again. I'm voting for 22 long rifle.
It's a tough one. I mean, 22, man, the cans are smaller, they're lighter, the guns are smaller. Like, you can make an SBR 22. I can't even think how many cool SBRs are in 22. That AR 180,
Mm-hmm.
the one with the 180 round mag or whatever. Holy moly. I hope they make that again. I really want a little 22 Gatling gun. I could
that'd be
easily
awesome.
switch my vote, except for the Mac 10.
What if
No,
you had a suppressed 22 Gatling gun?
no, exactly. I mean, well, I don't know how you do
Did
that.
you
I guess you'd
suppress a
have to-
Gatling gun?
Yeah, kind of like a revolver, right? You'd have to, the suppressor mounted in the front, and as the barrel went up in front, you'd maybe do like an oval baffle so that, you don't care so much about strikes. I don't know, but I'll bet you it can be done. Or
What
the
if it
other
was
side,
one of
cans
those-
don't cost nothing,
what-
you put a can on each barrel.
What if it wasn't true Gatling gun? Kind of like some of these ones that are being made right now.
Integrally
where-
suppress each barrel.
You could do that too.
Oh, and a 22, you get a Ruger 1022 integrally suppressed barrel, 8 of them or whatever, right? 6 of them, I guess. I don't know.
Any votes come in? 45 ACP or 22 long rifle?
22.
Two
Everybody's
for
saying the
22
ammo
to-
cost and entry
No,
caliber.
Yeah, two
I
for
mean, like
20
I said, it's
3 for
impossible.
22. No, two, just two. No,
I mean, 22 didn't end any
no,
wars.
three. There are three. Okay, never mind. There
Nobody
are
ever
three.
ended a war. They probably started that one war, if you think about it.
Probably.
And they say that it kills more things than anything else because it kills
Yeah.
more things than anything else. But
Hey,
whatever.
Gary, you were alive way back then. What was used to kill the Archduke?
I think it was probably
A
32
gun?
or something.
So, with that, folks,
I'm looking it up.
I do believe we have our winner, though. Watch, it was probably something crazy like a 25 ACP.
It's
I
a
think
380.
Oh, shit.
Oh, wow.
It was a 32.
It was a Belgian-made FN model 1910, chambered in 380 ACP.
You know, if you really want to suppress a 22, you got to get 22 short.
Mm-hmm. But
That's
long
absolutely
rifle,
quiet.
you could probably shoot short in the 22
I-
long rifle. Depending
I
on
thought
how-
about putting it on here, but it seems more of a left-handed caliber. So I was like,
No, and it's not really. I mean, it's a novelty caliber for like it would be there's going to be some very quiet, like what do they call it, varmint guns? You know, like little
Yep.
22.
Yeah, if you want, but if you want to be Hollywood quiet, that's what you have to shoot.
Oh, for sure, yeah. But like cricket, right? Like a bolt action 22 with a little can on it. Man, that's going to be fun to teach kids on.
mm-hmm.
Like, here's your first gun with a can on it, you little bastard.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Like, wish I would have had this when I was a little kid.
Then the first time they
Here's your 22 that's quieter than my BB gun was. Here you go.
that they go out and don't have the can on and they're not paying attention and they didn't put on
Yeah.
Air Pro and they get that
Very
22
fun for the first
crack.
time.
Oh my god.
That's
That would
solid.
surprise
Yeah.
the shit out of you.
That's true. Well, it's probably better that they don't all go deaf.
That's like when I shot my 6.5 Creedmoor and it's got that muzzle brake on it and I forgot to put my ears back on. Oh, that was bad.
Yeah.
I've never shot a firearm and instantly just held my ears and said, fuck, until that.
Yeah, when I had my Henry at the range the one time with my 22, the guy next to me was shooting a 44 Desert Eagle with the hearing protection on and him shooting that 44 Desert Eagle. I could not hear the 22 going off. I kept doing chamber checks because I didn't know if the thing went off or not. That thing has
He's
no recoil.
He's like, I just had a squib. So, Rich, anything you wish to plug, sir?
Well, Sunday nights, 9 p.m. Eastern on the Unloaded Media channel, we do this show called This Week Unloaded. Some of the people that you see here on the panel here show up on my panel on Sunday nights. So check that out. And you don't know what we're going to talk about on that show. We can talk about anything. So, yeah, check it out.
All right. Gary.
And if you want to hear Rich be wrong on two different shows, tune in Monday night at 9 o'clock p.m. on my show for Foul Territory. And come give him hell. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here. G-Webs.
Hey, thanks for hosting and let me distribute it or whatever that's called, simulcast it.
No, I appreciate you doing it.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. Thanks everybody that showed up and chatted. Like say I can do a show. I got some stuff to do, but if I can take some time tomorrow, we'll go back and look at some of the comments and address some of the specific real questions or whatever that we might have missed. But I'm assuming tomorrow there'll be more data, right? So maybe we'll have more insight. But anyway, Brooke does a show on Saturday, so I think an important thing to talk about is our mental health, right? Like we talk about broken arms and getting poked in the eye or something, and we make fun of each other. If I don't know, if like a scope hits us in the eye and we get a black eye from it, it's no big deal. We can talk about that casually, and we're kind of comfortable with it. But talking about mental stuff is just not something we do in society or whatever, in culture. So Brooke is creating a consistent show on Saturdays to help us have those conversations so that we are able to approach the topic, speak, some of the jargon and understand some of the stuff that goes on there so that it's not alien to us. We can sound more competent when we're talking to each other, gun owners, right? And then when we're talking to other people, like people that are not gun owners, not necessarily people that are against us always, but just those people who don't give a shit. And if we can if we can bring up the idea that most of the people that die from guns are from suicide, and the other side, the antis, never bring that up, I think we're better off when we're trying to change that Overton window. We're trying to, let people understand why we would like these violent things. Well, because we're familiar with them, we know they're not violent. And having more than just the ability to say it's my right and my property, leave me alone, is what Brooke offers, right? That's what her show's all about. It's like opening our vocabulary and our awareness and our ability to talk about these things. But it's not like a lecture. She just talks about this stuff every week for about 20 minutes. So it makes it consumable. It makes it, something that you can get your head around and get more comfortable talking about this stuff. I think it's an awesome project that's been going on for years now. And I champion it every time I can. The DJ's not in here to champion it himself. So thanks for hosting, and looking forward to having another conversation in the future.
Absolutely. I appreciate you being here. Thank you. For anybody that's new out there, I encourage you to hit the subscribe button if you enjoyed what you saw tonight, or if you just found it valuable, and be sure to go and subscribe to anybody that you see on the panel that you may not be familiar with and or subscribe to, because they're all putting out great content and doing live shows and having phenomenal conversations like this, except for Rich, not Rich. And say we cannot help him. No, you should probably subscribe to Rich too, because he has a giveaway when he gets to 500. But in all seriousness, thank you all for tuning in. Hope you got something out of the show. Be sure to tune into DM Foss Sunday mornings at 12 Eastern, and that's at 12 in the afternoon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific, as he has a great show every Sunday. Be sure to go check out Slim Cowboy. He's got a bunch of shorts that he's always putting up, and some other videos. Gun Snob, pumping out all kinds of stuff. Man, I see it more on Facebook than I do on the YouTubes now, but every once in a while I still get a YouTube notification. So there's a few other channels that may not be on the screen right now, but some other channels that are worth going and checking out. With that, we will catch you next Thursday. See you. Good night, Gracie.
We would like to thank our friend and channel sponsor, GearWebsites.com. GearWebsites.com is your home for the greatest two-way swag. But instead of me telling you, take it from Gun Websites himself.
GearWebsites.com is your source for firearms-based playing cards and books. We also have mugs, shirts, and posters with designs that we've made live. Of course, we have patches. Every Friday is Free Patch Friday. We appreciate your